back again, and we are in the final part of our WrestleMania discussion. 3 weeks of talking every WrestleMania that ever happened, and we are in the final stage on WrestleMania weekend. What's up, y'all? This is your boy Sean, aka Puff Comics 83, and I am joined by my co-host, the WrestleManiac himself, Red Rain G and Vigilante. What is going on, my brother?
We want the gold, sucker! We are back and we're ready to talk WrestleMania!
Yes. This time we're doing WrestleManias 27 all the way to 40.
It's starting right with a banger!
I will say that this is not a fun era of WrestleMania for me.
This is when I absolutely was not watching wrestling anymore, because as my note says, fuck Cena.
And we get a whole bunch of Cena winning matches that he shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt, Rusev, like, come on, man.
Oh yeah, I have all like everything there noted. They're like, hell no. But yeah, WrestleMania 27 is it sort of lose you a little bit in, because the undercard actually feels like surprisingly fresh. You know, with Alberto Del Rio in there, going against Edge, and also of course Christian Christian being back. Then Cody Rhodes was actually, I guess, was actually my favorite match of the card.
I liked the Randy Orton CM Punk match.
That one was also okay, yeah, but also CM Punk should have gone over.
Like I said, booking decisions.
Yeah, and
now I will say that the Triple H Undertaker match was not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Hell's Gate finisher.
My biggest problem with that match was non-stop hit a big move, rest, hit a big move, rest, hit a big move, extended rest. And it was like, alright, now this is getting ridiculous. Now I want this match to wrap up, because it's just too much non-stop wrestling after big moves.
Yeah, I see what they did there. They basically failed at doing here what they achieved in doing the year after.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, and the finish, I'm not a fan of the finish. I think the Hell's Gate is not a good finisher for the Undertaker. Yeah, I know the Undertaker is a big MMA fan, but
yeah, it definitely didn't work here. And the whole aftermath, when with him being laid out and just needed to be helped, I was like, come on, man, that's the Undertaker.
YouTube is 90.
What's up, 90, man? Great to see you here.
Yeah. And it also doesn't help with this WrestleMania that it has two of the worst WrestleMania matches in history on the card.
Let's not even bring up the one.
I want to bring it up in a way because actually Jerry Lawler wanted to have like a WrestleMania match, because he had actually never really had a WrestleMania match in his whole career. And what should have been what should have been a celebration of Jerry Lawler's career turned into one of the 3 worst WrestleMania matches in history.
What I don't understand is why the fuck did it go this fucking long? 14 minutes!
Yeah.
Who okayed that shit?
Horrible. And then, like, The Miz versus Cena, a match that should not main event a good episode of Raw. It's a fucking WrestleMania main event. 2 non-wrestlers, like, there's like 5 to 7 moves in a fucking whole match. It's like, it's not a wrestling match. Like, why?
The only thing that match had that was notable was Miz getting knocked out with the back of his head hitting the pavement. But other than that, that match was dreadful to watch.
Yeah.
And it was just an excuse for The Rock come in, screw John Cena, and set up the match at next year's Mania.
Yeah, this is a shitty WrestleMania. Like, I couldn't even find another immortal moment in this WrestleMania other than Shawn Michaels going in the Hall of Fame in the same year as Sonny. Like,
Sunny days indeed. Sunny days.
But yeah.
Man. But yeah, this was not a good WrestleMania, and it's one that I'm like, fuck, I got the DVD of this shit and this crap.
you know, it's like, when we started from WrestleMania 26, which already was like a one-match card, going into WrestleMania 27, it was not a good start for WrestleMania binge. It was actually the first time that I've seen this WrestleMania, and it's most likely the last time. Like, it's just everything that was wrong with WWE at that moment.
Yeah.
It was just a shitty time to be a wrestling fan at this point, especially international, when you could not stream all the good stuff on the indies, like here in Europe.
But one notable thing happened at this WrestleMania that was egregiously terrible the following WrestleMania. Sheamus fought Daniel Bryan in the dark match of this show, and it ended in the no contest, which led into the whole battle royal. But the following year, they had a World Heavyweight Championship match with Daniel Bryan being the heel champ against Sheamus, and this match right here set off the chain of events for Daniel Bryan's rise to WrestleMania glory.
It's, with WrestleMania 28, Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan. This was such a massive disrespect, not only to Daniel Bryan, but also to the Big Goat.
Yes.
This was so unworthy. I mean, WrestleMania 28 was also not like a bump. When having Captain Keith from the Wizard from the series Deadliest Catch as being one of the highlights of WrestleMania. I think it says everything. Deadliest Catch, one of the coolest, the most awesome TV series of all time. And of course, Captain Keith being a legend. But he should not be one of the highlights of WrestleMania.
Man, the amount of vitriol the fans had for that finish of the Daniel Bryan match, they knew the talent of these two guys.
Yeah.
And it showed the following month when they had the Backlash match, and it was so good. It's like, why couldn't we have that at WrestleMania?
Like, fucking 18 seconds for the World Heavyweight title. Like,
I get it that Daniel Bryan is a cheap heel. He was escaping with the belt for the last 3 months. But come on now.
It's WrestleMania. Yeah. And then also, like, chopping Cody to the Big Show. Come on.
I mean, even CM Punk and Jericho really couldn't elevate this show.
I mean, yeah, that was still my favorite match of that card, but there was not a lot to choose from, and but also, like, with Punk versus Jericho, it should have all that stupid drama, with Punk's family. Just make it about who is the best in the world. That's all we need. Let Jericho and Punk work. Something great will come out of it. Was a good match. Should have been greater. Still the best match on the card.
Yes, I agree. And,
Yeah.
and it's funny because I didn't like the Triple H Undertaker match the year prior. I thought this match with Shawn Michaels as the referee of the Hell in a Cell was much better than that.
Adding Michaels as a referee to the match changed everything. And of course, like, for me, also, like, the immortal moment of this is, of course, when they all, like, celebrate, like, the end of an era, and the Sweet Chin Music pedigree combo.
Yes,
where Undertaker,
that was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
to me, the storytelling in this match between all three guys, and like you said, it definitely felt like an end of an era. I felt like if Undertaker didn't lose the streak, this would have been a great match for him to go out on.
Yes.
Because it definitely felt like a closure to his long career and doing it with guys that he wrestled numerous times.
Because then we're gonna talk later about it with WrestleMania 30, but at this point, like beating this streak would have done nothing for any youngster. It would actually have hindered them. So that's also, but I'm gonna talk more about it like with Brock Lesnar, because I'm one of the people where I think it actually, if you want to break this streak, Lesnar was the right option. But we're gonna talk about that later. But yeah, WrestleMania 28, and you can totally see that with Rock versus Cena. They wanted to recreate the Rock versus Hogan magic, which you can't do with Cena because Cena sucks.
I know that.
Yeah.
The Hogan versus Rock can never be recreated.
It can't be recreated. It was like because there is only one Rock and one Hogan, and they cooked in there.
Yeah, the problem I have with Rock versus Cena is that they felt like they did these matches out of necessity.
Yeah, because
Rock left, and then Cena made comments about Rock leaving and going to Hollywood and never really being loyal to wrestling. And then, Rock came back just to bring that up. And then when you watch these matches, it's like they're trying to force that issue of,
I just wanted to.
Guys are great.
Yeah. I wanted to mention that actually, like all the vignettes of The Rock, with the merchandise of Cena and throwing everything away, those vignettes were actually better than WrestleMania.
Yeah, so I felt like the build-up was better than the match itself, and they didn't help the following year, because one thing about the next year's WrestleMania, I hated the fact that they made it a title match. They made it a fucking title match and then CM Punk's title reign.
Yeah,
They didn't need the belt. First of all, you advertised the first match as once in a lifetime, but then you said, "Oh, let's run it back. Let's do another match."
And also the thing was, who was winning.
Everybody.
When you have one match, you can speculate and made it interesting. In the second match, of course, the other person is going over.
It made us hate John Cena even more because we knew he was getting the belt back.
Yeah,
which is a nice callback to the whole Austin and Rock thing.
Yeah, but that was excellent.
It was better with those two than Cena.
Yeah, it's really like I'm very happy that I didn't watch wrestling at that point, because let's face it, nowadays, like, you either have Netflix, Peacock, or international in some places. Like here, luckily, we still have the network. You pay your $10 a month. It's okay to watch that. To watch that fucking thing for a pay-per-view price for 50 upwards, I would feel ass raped. Like, hell no. Like,
it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Especially when you got a main event like Rock Cena 2, and all they're doing is just spam and finish.
Yeah. But yeah, WrestleMania 29. Ain't no WrestleMania like a Diddy WrestleMania, eh?
Oh, Lord Jesus. I knew Diddy was gonna come up. I knew Diddy was gonna come up. I was like, wait till we get to this WrestleMania so you can bring up Diddy, man.
I wish I had I was actually looking if they have the Snoop Dogg chips again. Said they didn't have them anymore at the store here.
They sold out.
But I wonder what a P. Diddy chips would taste like. Lead and lubricated butt crack, probably.
Oh Lord, man, the Diddy jokes are flying, man. My match of the night of this WrestleMania is Undertaker and Punk. It was like they took the belt off of Punk, then they said, "Well, you're gonna fight the Undertaker," and I really thought that he showed that he could hang with Undertaker. One on one.
I think, yeah. I also have this match like as a positive there, because also like it was also a completely right decision that the Undertaker goes over, because at this point you actually get more over by having a good match against the Undertaker and losing.
Yes.
But my favorite match was still Triple H against Brock Lesnar, because Triple H in a gimmick match, this is where he shines the most, and I really enjoyed it. It was an epic battle that I really liked. But yeah.
But it was between that and Punk Undertaker, and I just like the Punk Undertaker match more.
Yeah, but I also have like noted that fans were smarter in the 90s. Just rematching if Renegade was as over as Ryback in the beginning when he was like started. Like nobody in the 90s could soul as Renegade. They were able to soul people Ryback. I'm happy that Mark Henry got over, but boy, I have to say that Hall of Pain Mark Henry would have deserved a WrestleMania title match, a WrestleMania moment to win the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah, man, like we got the best of Mark Henry too late.
Yeah.
You know, if they would have really like focused on him and he could have came up with the Hall of Fame a lot earlier, he would have had a much better run.
Absolutely, and
he had to overcome a lot of bullshit from the Attitude Era that he's like, God. So it's like he really needed that redemption.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm really happy that he got over in that match. Then it's such a wasted Chris Jericho match, and you let him chop to Fandango. Like you let Chris Jericho chop to a comedy act. Like, are you serious? Like,
hey man, that's no different than him jobbing the Orange Cassidy in AEW. Pockets himself.
At least now he's like in the age where it doesn't matter so much. But that was like second spring Chris Jericho at this point. Where actually at this point Chris Jericho was in a position that Shawn Michaels was before. Where he was just there to deliver like a technical banger every WrestleMania.
Man, to me the best run of Chris Jericho had to be 08-09. When he had the feud with Shawn Michaels and he started wearing the suits and talking with the big words, kind of like Nick Bockwinkel. To me, that was the best version of Jericho from that time.
In WWE for sure, I still prefer WCW Chris Jericho. That was so unhinged. I mean, he got a fat hobo over. Like, I mean, like. It's just Chris Jericho can do that. And then like it's an immortal moment at this WrestleMania. I mean, it was the debut of the Shield, which, when you look back at it, might be even the most successful stable ever. When you just look like at the title history from Reigns and from Rollins and from Moxley. Like, I mean, people can say about Moxley what they want nowadays, but hey, like,
right, I'm gonna ask you this: Are they the number one stable of all time? Number one faction?
I think. I mean, from the achieved potential of every member within the stable, yes. Otherwise, from what I was rewatching, what my opinion is about, because I didn't watch it back in the day, from rewatching, I think they ended the Shield a little bit too soon.
My thing with the Shield is, I thought they was a really good faction, and they had better success after they broke up. But when I think of factions, when I think of strong stables, Four Horsemen is still my number one with it.
It's like for longevity, but like from the.
I get what you're saying. I understand that, from that standpoint.
Yeah, because
But
usually within a faction, it's like always the reason to get somebody over within the faction. And here, all three went. I mean, can you even get more?
It took a while for Roman to catch his foot.
Yeah, not Roman's fault. Not Roman's fault.
And I felt like Seth had the potential, even going back to when he was Tyler Black on the Indies. You know, so
when he still did gay wrestling.
when he was with the Age of the Fall and shit like that. But he definitely had the potential. But for me, like I said, the Four Horsemen is the standard bearer for factions.
When you think stable, you think Four Horsemen, of course, like for longevity and everything. It depends, of course, which
iteration.
What is your premise of what makes it stable? And of course, for longevity, it's the Four Horsemen. I mean, I am a big NWO fan. It's my favorite time in wrestling. NWO made me look at wrestling from a different point of view. I was, like back in the day, I was already telling the stories when, as a teenager, I was out in the pub. It's like, I have to go home because on German sports TV, WCW is running. I have to watch the NWO. But like you said, like when you look at the NWO in its entire run, there were way too many people that were in there where it went nowhere. Of course, it was a fantastic also vehicle to later, of course, get Backwell and Steiner over. Just a fantastic duo.
They didn't need Big Bubba and Michael Wall Street in there.
Yeah, it's like
Vincent was nothing more than the job guy for the team.
Yeah.
If somebody needed to take a loss, Vincent was your guy.
Yeah, you know, with the NWO always say like, let's remember the real awesome things and forget about some of the choppers that were in there.
Yeah, but let's talk WrestleMania 30.
WrestleMania 30. Also, I have to still want to mention for WrestleMania 29 that I think one of the only true achievements of the PG era was that Bruno Sammartino agreed to be in the Hall of Fame. Because, let's face it, a WWE Hall of Fame would mean jack shit if Bruno Sammartino wouldn't be.
He established the promotion, the heights that it was in the 60s and 70s. You got to have Bruno in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly, because otherwise the whole Hall of Fame is like means nothing.
And a lot of it was because him and Vince wasn't seeing eye to eye, and he didn't
like the Attitude Era.
Yeah, he didn't like a lot of the stuff that the Attitude Era was and what Vince was doing and stuff. So he wasn't really associated with it. But they finally was able to work together and make it happen.
I think this might have been like the first big achievement of Triple H to really mend the fences.
And he did that a lot.
Yeah.
If only he could have. And it was so close. It was so close to happening when Macho Man was doing the promotion for WWE All Stars. And it was like we could have gotten Macho Man in the Hall of Fame, but he sadly passed away that same year. And it was so fucking disappointing. That was sad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, WrestleMania 30 also has an epic Hall of Fame story that also sadly ended in a tragedy 2 days afterward.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about it. Yeah. WrestleMania 30. Welcome to the Silverdome. The Superdome. The Hogan being Hogan.
Hey man, Hogan slipped up, and the fans let him know. They let him know.
And The Rock and Austin too. They didn't let that slide.
Hey, he had to slip up like Booker T had to slip up.
Yeah.
But WrestleMania 30 is pretty much built around Daniel Bryan.
Very much is. You know, watching it like in retrospective is I can totally get why people are behind, because Daniel Bryan, also like seeing what they have done afterwards, just a phenomenal wrestler, like also from his indie days. I don't get the yes chance, but I think that's something you must have been there for.
It was something that he got over as a heel doing it. It was annoying, but then when he got screwed by the WWE and Sheamus in that opening match, the fans used it as a rebellion against him. Like you're gonna screw this guy over, so we're just gonna chant it just to get him over even more. And then the whole thing with him and Kane being a tag team, I don't know, that really got him over even more. So when he had the whole thing with John Cena at SummerSlam, the fans was 100% behind him. And one thing that he said that I always loved, and when Cena responded to it, I was like, this is why Cena is not 100% about wrestling. Cena said that if WWE dies, then I'm done. You know, like, I'm moving on in life. If WWE dies with Daniel Bryan, he's going to go wrestle the Indies. He's going to go wrestle in another promotion because he loves wrestling.
Exactly.
That's his blood, wrestling. And I feel like that, to me, is what connected a lot of fans to Daniel Bryan, because he is a wrestler at heart. And that's what elevated him throughout. And of course, you had the whole Triple H and Randy Orton screwing him over, cashing in the Money in the Bank to win the belt. And then you had the whole thing with Bray Wyatt and the Royal Rumble incident, because this is the same WrestleMania that led to Batista's return earlier with Royal Rumble. And the fans just revolted against that. They wanted Daniel Bryan. They didn't want Batista coming back and stealing the spotlight from somebody that they really wanted to cheer for.
Yeah. And the matches were fantastic. Of course, Daniel Bryan. I think that his match against Triple H was better than the main event.
I agree.
Yeah, because there was it was just more at stake and everything. You know, New Orleans is also awesome. Should have been in the Madison Square Garden. I think the Madison Square Garden was already renovated at this point.
Yeah, because they did the last, 2 ones at New Jersey. You know, but it should have been at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, should have absolutely.
But WWE's all stadium shows now for WrestleMania.
Yeah. Then, of course, important note is fuck Cena.
Yes.
I
hated the way that they had Bray lose to him. This is where you should have had. What's up, Ryan? But this is where they could have elevated Bray Wyatt, having him beat Cena. You needed somebody to beat Cena to get elevated.
Yeah,
and then they just completely screwed the pooch with this.
And the cult leader gimmick was really working. You know, when I was rewatching the things in retrospective. I mean, at least this match led to the Firefly Funhouse match, which we're also gonna talk later about.
I'm not a fan of that though, man.
I'm a big fan of it, actually.
Yeah, the whole cinematic approach, and it really highlighted the character of Cena. But I don't know. Like, some cinematic stuff will hit on this.
I think that I'm a big fan of it, but we're gonna talk later about it. But it only could have worked in that year where it happened, like with the pandemic. Wouldn't have worked in any other year. And that's like the thing with Bray Wyatt, that very creative guy. I think a lot of his ideas were not just, I don't know if ready yet or fit into wrestling, but I think at this point, you know, with the cult leader gimmick, was actually the most believable and strongest.
They kept dropping the ball.
And I mean, also
this match, they didn't want him beating Undertaker, and then him losing the Randy Orton in that fucking match. I was like, what the fuck? Give the man an important victory.
Yeah, let's just say that you know, last week we were talking about how the word "buried" is used too often. That character absolutely was buried.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that word in the next WrestleMania. Trust me, because that just completely turned me off of that. that WrestleMania. But
Yeah.
this, like I said, this was a Daniel Bryan show. I thought the Shield versus Kane and the New Age Outlaws was just, it is what it is. The old age Outlaws, if you want to say it at best.
Yeah. But also like now
Brock
talking about
Lesnar beating The Undertaker.
my immortal moment, and if you want to beat this streak and not let The Undertaker retire undefeated, the only guy who could do this was Brock Lesnar. Because let's face it, at this point, if you would beat the streak, you would get all the heat. And who is the person who can take the heat because he gives a fuck? Brock Lesnar.
And not only that, he can take time off right after beating the streak.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
So he just add more heat to him. What's up, Remo?
hey, Remo. So I think that, yeah, Brock Lesnar was the only right call to break the streak. Because,
And it was shocking. It completely shocked everybody.
yeah,
It's like, you in your mind, you still think the Undertaker's gonna win because they're gonna keep the streak going.
yeah.
And when that 3 count happened, I had the same look as the guy in the, on ringside. I was like, what? It to me, like, this felt like that time we got to see Fedor Emelianenko and he lost to Fabricio Werdum.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was shocked because I'm like, all this time he was built up as this unstoppable monster. And he loses the first big American fight that he had.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, the backstage segments, especially the one with Piper, Orndorff, Hogan, and Mr. T, that one was gold. I really loved that one. Paul Orndorff with his elaborated beard at that point, like, really classy.
This is wonderful. Still the best power driver in the game.
Yeah, and also I love how
Hey. But hey, look, my hair ain't that wig that Martin had, so stop.
But yeah, I also love that unspoken, how basically, you know, Mr. T and Roddy Piper, the handshake was like very reluctantly.
Even after all these years, they still have this backstage heat.
Yeah. And of course, Hall of Fame, big year. Bad times don't last, but bad times do.
Oh man, the bad guy.
Razor being in there, and then of course, Ultimate Warrior, mending the fences, like with Vince coming back, going to Raw and dying the night after, like, damn, like,
the promo he cut on Raw, it's still chilling to listen.
yeah,
to
that's, you know, when you listen, he must have known something. He probably didn't know that it would be right after. Like, that one goes deep, like.
Especially considering everything, you know, he's been through in terms of how he was as a person, the stuff that he said,
Yeah.
and, you know, people not liking him. People still, even after death, still don't really care for
Yeah.
the war. But he mended all the fences with Hogan, with Vince, with a lot, even Triple H. Because remember, he squashed Triple H at WrestleMania 12, and Triple H did his attitude.
He was not a fan of that, yeah.
Yeah, so he mended a lot of fences, and he was able to get into the Hall of Fame and tell his story. And I like, one thing I liked about the Hall of Fame is how, like, upset he felt. And I'll admit, I have the DVD, The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Like, I felt bad that they were just crapping all over him, but at the same time, I wanted to see it.
It was, you know, I also watched it when it came out back in the day, and it was really the thing where, because it you wanted to watch it like to hear some shoots. Like,
Ted DiBiase, Bobby the Brain Heenan, like, they all was crapping on him. And, you
yeah.
know, he you could tell he felt hurt. And
A lot
he
more,
mentioned
yeah.
it. in the Hall of Fame speech. So it was great just to hear him bring it up and talk about how he's mended all the fences.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like WrestleMania 30. Just the Daniel Bryan story, the whole Brock Lesnar beating Undertaker, and overall, it was a pretty decent show. The only thing I didn't like was John Cena.
Yeah, I was very like WrestleMania 30 was really, it was awesome, and luckily it was not WrestleMania 31.
Let's get the elephant out the room right here. Fuck Triple H and fuck Vince McMahon
Yeah.
for giving us the first and only Sting WrestleMania match, and he loses.
And it also it was booked so it was booked by somebody who has never seen WCW.
No, it was booked by somebody to say, I got Sting, now I get to completely shit on WCW by having him lose. That's what this felt like. It felt like he got the final piece that he didn't have for so long.
Yeah.
That now that he have him, you doing the JOB to Triple H. And the NWO is going to come out and look like losers themselves.
And also like, why would the NWO come out and help this thing? Bring the fucking Four Horsemen out. Like, let Ric Flair save Sting and then turn on Sting.
Yeah, because Ric Flair, he also has allegiance with Triple H. Forever listening. So if you're going to have Sting lose, at least tie it to Ric Flair. At least do that.
Oh, then
I'm like,
oh, then.
we all wanted to see Sting versus Undertaker. That never happened.
Yeah.
So the best thing you give us is Sting versus Triple H.
And once more, they completely oversold the relevancy of DX. The DX was never on a level with the NWO.
Never.
DX was a mid-card act, while NWO was when the NWO ruled. Yeah. Luckily, it took a few years more for me to get back into it. It was like.
But see, like, I can imagine the Sting fans who tuned in for this WrestleMania just to see Sting at his first WrestleMania.
And also, like, why didn't Sting have like his theme? His real theme?
Yeah, I hated that theme.
And also, it's like important question: what was worse, Triple H versus Sting or Terminator Genesis?
Oh my god.
Like also WrestleMania 30, I wanted to mention, at WrestleMania 30 we got the best Triple H entrance of all time. While WrestleMania 31 we got a Terminator promotion for the worst Terminator movie in history.
Yeah, and this is why that match was just all-time crapper. And I like, when it comes to WrestleMania 31, you get the first Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match.
Yeah.
And Seth Rollins. What was that?
What is your favorite match on the 31 card?
I mean, I like the Seth Rollins and Randy Orton.
My pick as favorite match. They had a good chemistry. And
and the finish was amazing.
Yeah, the stomp into the RKO, so perfectly timed. And of course, as an immortal moment, like the heist of the century, which basically, luckily, is the only thing that people think about when it.
And I also enjoyed the ladder match because Daniel Bryan won it. But like I said, I did not like Cena winning against Rusev. He beat Bray Wyatt and then he beat Rusev, and Rusev needed to win more.
Yeah, and he did it on Rusev Day.
This is on Rusev Day. Just so they could start John Cena's U.S. title run. But like I said, I like that Seth Rollins surprising everybody and cashing in to win the title.
Yeah. Also, my note is, of course, fuck Cena, especially on Rusev Day. Fuck him twice on Rusev Day.
And my note is fuck Triple H and Vince McMahon.
Yeah, boy.
That it was a complete waste of Sting. That, to me, my biggest takeaway of WrestleMania 31 is the complete waste of Sting.
Yeah. It truly is, and when you look at it, like, the work rate that he was still able to do also late in AEW. You know, people can say a lot of stuff about Tony, but at least Sting he handled with all the respect that he deserved.
Yeah, he used Sting the right way, mostly in tag matches, and Sting felt more like somebody to help elevate somebody else.
But also, wasn't it weird that Daniel Bryan, even though the ladder match was good, that he went from main event straight into the mid card?
Yeah, like I said, that's I don't know, man. I know he had the whole concussion thing and all, but it was just weird.
Yeah, and also my note, Undertaker versus Wyatt just said. Such an unnecessary WrestleMania. If, you know, at this point, because the streak was already broken, you could have let... Like, at this point, it might actually would have done something for Wyatt.
Could have, would have. But the booking of Bray Wyatt in general was just...
Yeah.
It was just, like, every time he got momentum, they halted it. And that was my problem with Bray Wyatt. That's why when people like to elevate him and say he was great, like, yes, he was great, but the booking held him back. They
had
never
the potential.
let him reach his true potential.
He had the potential to be great. He truly had the potential to be great. He, of course, needed somebody who brings his ideas into a manageable match, because I think Triple H said, and I think I have to agree with Triple H there, that at the end of the day it's still about two guys in the ring.
Yeah.
But I think Bray Wyatt really he brought a much needed disruption into the whole system.
The creative was strong before him. Alright, so any other notes you got on WrestleMania 31?
31 notes? Once again, maybe I want to say fuck Cena. But otherwise I think we've discussed everything important. WrestleMania 32 starts with a banger. Also, rest in peace, Zack Ryder. Long live Matt Cardona. So happy for him that he got the Intercontinental Champion.
Didn't he lose it like the day later?
I know, they basically just gave him the title, so they came in like the Snickers ad with Ric Flair.
It was basically say, hey, here's the title, but you're gonna drop it the next night or something like that.
Still,
WrestleMania moment.
He's a WrestleMania moment. Very, I have this feeling that Macadona comes back either at Mania this year or at Raw on Monday. I have this feeling, but I could be dead wrong. But it's just like I think he's. I would not be surprised if we're gonna hear "Always Ready." It would be epic. But yeah, it's very happy for that ladder match, and of course when you watch like that ladder match, and also the year before is poor Cody.
What do you think of Chris Jericho beating AJ Styles in Styles' first WrestleMania?
As a Chris Jericho mark, I have to say I'm happy. It's actually my favorite match on the card, and you can still, of course, Vince was still in charge, and probably, AJ Styles comes from TNA, so he still has to eat shit before he's ready to be pushed. But like in a long-term booking, could have been worse. Like at least he became world champion, and but yeah, like it's a big Chris Jericho mark. So I'm very happy that he got over, and I think it's the best match on the card.
I will agree with that because the card itself is just meh.
And of course, also like for me, the immortal moment of WrestleMania 32 is like Divas No More. Woo!
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair wins the first real women's title after many years. No more Divas.
And it was a good, really good match. I enjoyed it. Triple threat matches can be hit or miss because it's just how the structure. But I thought all three women did a fine job in the match. And of course, you know, they had history with their matches in NXT, so of course there was really no pressure under them outside of just being at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and especially, you know, I think that of course, Charlotte and Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné really were like the standouts. I was going to talk about it later. I think Becky Lynch. I think she achieved more. She's an overachiever what her in-ring talent is.
I will agree with Dan on this. Outside the two matches we talked about, WrestleMania 32 is one. The main event was goddamn Warfest, man.
Yeah. I mean, there's although like one note, it's I love crazy stunts and everything, but for the love of mankind, Shane, come on, like fuck, it's like come on, like.
Shane, at this point, his life, things should not be taking those type of risks. He ain't Mick Foley.
It's, you know, it was like really, you know, watching it was like, I was not even, you know, like, like it's just, oh no, Shane, please don't. Like,
and I wasn't even excited for the match to begin with. Like Undertaker and the Hell in a Cell against Shane McMahon. And while Shane did what he could do, I just felt like for a WrestleMania match, the streak has been broken, but this is kind of a worthless match for Undertaker.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary, and you know, for the main event with Triple H, basically all I want to say is like, Triple H is a lucky guy. Like, I think that's like the hardest step looked like. Like Triple H is a lucky guy.
I'll tell you who wasn't lucky. Old Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, because he wasn't getting to do none of what he wanted to do in the match against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
Brock Lesnar pretty much destroyed him.
I mean, we all know what Dean Ambrose Moxley would want to do in a no-holds-barred street fight. Like, and
he probably wanted to drop Brock on the spike or something.
Like, like.
And Brock was like, "Hell no! I'm gonna destroy you, suplex you, and win the match."
Exactly.
But still,
we got the one fantastic surprise.
What's that?
DDP.
Oh yes, DDP in the hall. And of course, you know, DDP. If they're not going to have Sting induct,
because DDP was like also in the Under the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
But if they're not going to have Sting induct Lex Luger, it has to be DDP. What's up, Donnie?
Yeah.
So 32 was just
It had its moments, but as a show, it was very uneven.
Yeah. With 33 though, man,
like the first thing, you know, like over 5 hours long. Cut the music crap out of it. I want to watch wrestling. I don't want to see any fucking music.
This is where WrestleMania becomes a big problem when they focus on a lot of other stuff to pad out the show.
Yeah.
And it's like you can go back and watch the earlier WrestleManias, and they were long. They had intermissions. These modern WrestleManias just have way too much other crap going on with the matches, and it just pads the show out to the point where it's 5.5 hours long. By the time you're 4 hours in, you're like, man, you just want the show to end.
Yeah, it's.
There you go.
The proper blend. But yeah, you know what's the crazy thing about this is AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon was better than had any right to be.
Thank you. I was like, we talking about Undertaker Shane didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
I was mad that AJ was fighting Shane McMahon. I was like, what the fuck? Why can't AJ have a good opponent?
And then
you watch the match, you're like, shit.
And then they have like a bang of a match, the second best match on the card, in my opinion.
I was like, how is it that this is the best match on the card?
The second best match, because the best match, of course, Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens.
And I wasn't a fan of that match, mainly because I felt like it should have been a much higher profile match. I was not a fan of Kevin Owens dropping the Universal title to Goldberg.
That's actually what I want to mention, that what I like about this match, first of all, is Chris Jericho and Kevin Steen in there. That Jericho does the job and gives Owens that push, the rub that he highly needed after the Goldberg fiasco. Like, Owens needed that win.
But I felt like the win would have been better had he been the defending Universal Champ, and I hate
of course
Universal because it was stupid and
of course, but yeah, it's but
yeah,
I mean
that match and the AJ match were the top two matches.
Yeah. Absolutely, and then you had like, I mean, this is actually where the Miz and John Cena deserve to be on a WrestleMania card. If they're on a WrestleMania card, like, it's. I'm also very happy for Nikki Bella to not have married John Cena, because there's something very creepy about that guy.
Pac was his indie name.
Right. God, yeah, it's. Yeah, later we had like actually some very good WrestleManias to talk about, like ahead of us. Also for the Hall of Fame, fantastic entries. Of course, you had Kurt Angle, and the crazy thing, Rock and Roll Express, which yesterday had a match, the Rock and Roll Express again.
The Rock and Roll Express. I remember when they were still wrestling a couple years ago, and what's his name, Morton, pulling off freaking Canadian Destroyer, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
The wrestling, also the match yesterday was not bad, and like, I love like how the other team like got all the heat when they were saying it's like, let's face it, most of these people just were here looking if your two is still alive. Morton, Ricky Morton's kid is a fantastic heel.
No.
Yeah.
And
again, it would be great if he, like, basically, if he just gives Cena a chair shot at WrestleMania or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, this is the WrestleMania where I was like, man, they completely lost me with Bray Wyatt, having him lose to Randy Orton.
Yeah, in a shit match that neither benefited Orton nor Wyatt. Like this match did nothing for anybody.
and again, that was the booking. It's like, why are you booking this man to lose matches that he should win? If you're trying to establish a new star,
yeah,
he needs some important wins at the biggest stage of the year.
Yeah, and I'm not even the biggest Wyatt fan, but it's like, but this is not how you treat like talent.
I don't know, man.
I love the clip that they sent with Bret Hart, like, where are the women at?
That was the most funniest thing. Like Bret looking for the woman than he worried about what's going on.
And of course, like Hogan telling that is like it was the water jet that gave him the black eye, like.
And I really didn't care about Roman Reigns beating the Undertaker because it's like,
who cares at this point? Like,
yes.
And also like it was not like that. It was the Roman Reigns that we luckily have now. It was like still the.
Vince,
yeah, Vince trying to push him into something that he is not and he doesn't even want to be.
And then the Goldberg-Brock match is what you expect. It's better than WrestleMania 20,
yeah.
But it's like keep it short, keep it simple, and Brock gets the belt again.
Yeah,
But it is what it is. Again, like you said, these WrestleManias, they like I said, there's some good stuff on it, and then there's just stuff that you fast forward.
Yeah. But like at this point now, WrestleManias are getting better because we're also getting more and more fantastic women matches. So you have less filler undercard, stupid matches on the card in some cases. And especially WrestleMania 34. My favorite match. My favorite match, even though I think that Asuka should have gone over, but Charlotte versus Asuka, best match of WrestleMania 34.
And it's funny, they had Asuka and Shinsuke Nakamura win the Rumble, and then they both lose at WrestleMania. It's like, what is going on here?
Yeah, either one of them should have gone over, but I also have to say that AJ Styles versus Shinsuke was so underwhelming.
It was disappointing.
It was disappointing because when I watched it, and probably everybody else that watched it was expecting an even better match than what I've already had, like in the past, like in Japan, etc.
Yeah, the Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah, but it was so underwhelming.
It felt like a WWE tamed down version of what we could have gotten when they had in Japan.
Yeah, they didn't let them cook, and it really shows.
It didn't help that Nakamura was taking losses to Jinder Mahal the last year. And it was like, Jesus Christ, you're already killing his heat.
I do have to say that I think Jinder was pushed too fast, but Jinder was never used.
Kenta kept getting hurt though. That was the problem with Kenta in WWE. Every time he starts having good matches, he got hurt. And it just killed every ounce of momentum that he had.
But yeah, in defense of Jinder Mahal, I think the stuff he's doing like on the indies now is excellent. And if they would have booked him that way that he books himself now, I think Jinder would have worked as a champion.
Yeah, like I said, when you get away from the WWE bubble, you tend to work much better because you don't have that restriction.
But yeah, also like I have to say, Cena as a face, just bullying Elias, like fuck Cena.
The one Cena versus Undertaker match we get in this era is a squash match. And I love Undertaker's story behind that. It's like Undertaker was told that he was gonna fight Cena at WrestleMania, and he's like, alright. So he's going to the gym, he's working out, he's getting in shape. He's like, I'm gonna have a 25-minute match with Cena. He get there, and Vince tell him, yeah, you're going over in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
But also, let's face it, who wants to see an Undertaker that cannot perform do his best anymore against somebody who could never perform.
But you gotta understand, like in Undertaker's mind, if this is WrestleMania against John Cena, I got to get ready.
That was actually my plus point. At least Cena and Undertaker didn't even try to have a match. Like, that was a
he pretty much squashed Cena.
Yeah.
As
he should.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, but there's also one match on the card that is also better than it had any right to be. Like, Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Steph. That match was a blast. I don't like Ronda Rousey at all. I think she is obnoxious and annoying, and I really dislike her in wrestling because she doesn't really respect the sport. You know, Shayna Baszler, big wrestling fan. Shayna Baszler is awesome. Ronda Rousey never really respected the wrestling.
I agree.
And I get why they got her because it was a way to cross over, and Ronda Rousey was really big at that point. So it was business-wise the right decision, but it was also the right decision of all the fans to turn on her like in a very fast way, and she couldn't take it.
Yeah, and like you said, she never truly respected it. She just came in for the money.
Yeah,
the crossover appeal and the money.
Yeah,
and like I said, I thought the match was fun. It was entertaining, but again, it's like Kurt Angle, he's back, and they utilize him in a good way. It was supposed to be The Rock, because remember the year before it was The Rock and Ronda Rousey in the segment. But,
wouldn't it have been a nice retirement match for Kurt Angle?
Better than Baron Corbin.
Well, it didn't.
It was just a squash match. You could pretty much say, if you want to watch a Cena Undertaker match, go watch their match in 2003 when Cena was still a heel at that time. But yeah, other than that,
when Cena didn't suck as much as he sucks now.
Yeah, the Doctor of Thugonomics Cena.
Yeah. But also, like, of course, the main event. It's still, I can still hear the boring chants in my and of course the wonderful video recording of Brock throwing the title and wins in the gorilla position.
But yeah, other than that, again, like when it comes to the WrestleMania, have some good matches, but it's hard for me to sit through all these WrestleManias. That's why I only can cherry pick the matches and watch them, because I'm not trying to sit through a lot of fluff.
I did it and I survived.
That's why you're a soldier. You're a true soldier. You watch every WrestleMania from beginning to end. Even sat through the Diddy stuff.
Yeah, I even sat through the Diddy stuff, man.
I'm like, man, I'm just gonna watch.
Just imagine the WrestleMania after party with Vince and with P. Diddy. Like, no ass was safe.
No, I think that's diabolical if P. Diddy and Vince McMahon is holding the party together.
Suplex City, bitch.
But yeah, the WrestleMania 34, I will say it's an underwhelming WrestleMania. Because the AJ Nakamura was underwhelming. Asuka not going over just felt like.
But at least the match delivered.
The match delivered, but the finish was like, come on, Asuka should have won. If you're gonna have two Japanese wrestlers win the Rumble and then both lose the title matches, it's like
one can say at least it was like very unpredictable.
So yeah, WrestleMania 34 is just okay in my book. And to me, while the WrestleManias get slightly better, I still just look at them as okay for me. 35 though.
I 35. I was like, Cena bullies Elias again. Fuck Cena.
But here's my thing with 35. I thought the main event should have been Becky versus Ronda. I was not a fan of them interjecting Charlotte.
You know why they interjected her?
Because of Ronda?
No, because when you have the first female main event, you need actually a person that can wrestle. Neither Becky nor Ronda can wrestle. Becky Lynch, fantastic character, very mid in the ring. She can only work a real interesting match like in a gimmick match. Like her feud with Tiffany Stratton in NXT when they had like the no disqualification, which was excellent. She can't carry a match. She could have not carried a match against Ronda Rousey, which was very unexperienced. So Charlotte was in there to save the match.
I'm just not a fan of the match, though.
I mean, the whole botched finish, and who botched? Of course, Becky and Ronda. Yeah. Because it wouldn't have happened on Charlotte's watch. Charlotte.
No. Charlotte and Sasha Banks had a ton of botches in their feud. I watched those matches, but those matches were not clean.
But not such botched finishes.
No, Charlotte has her fair share of botches.
Yeah, but Charlotte can actually
she's a better wrestler than most of them, but she has her fair share of botches as well. So I'm not gonna sit here.
Woo!
Yo, but as a main event, it was just. I don't know, man. I thought the Sasha Bianca match a couple years later was better than this.
Yeah. What I'm not a fan of, I get it was like a spur of the moment, but Kofi Mania is more like an overhyped mid-card mania. Like the world title should not be a participation trophy. Jey Uso. And it's like I get like the story, they get like, you know, the fan community and everything, but Kofi is not world champion material.
Here's the thing, and I came to this conclusion with the whole Jey Uso thing, and some people saying that, oh, this such and such wrestler needs the world title and such and such. I'm like, look. Everybody don't need to be a main eventer.
Yes. Because if everybody's a main eventer, nobody's a main eventer.
Everybody complains about this person not being pushed. This person jobbing out to this person. And they're like, oh, why is this person not in the main event? Because they're not main event material. And you know who's number one in my book? Damian Priest.
Yeah.
I look at Damian Priest as a solid mid-card guy. I don't see him as a top drawn main event.
You know what? Punisher Martinez is a main eventer. Damian Priest not.
I think even Punishment Martinez. I just see him as a mid-card guy. In my opinion, he's not a draw. There's nothing about him that makes me want to see his matches.
I think
because he doesn't have the character or the personality to make me want to see his matches.
Yeah, because when you look, just like we're gonna talk later about it when we talk like prediction for this Wrestlemania. But when you look at the match, like with Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, it feels like that Drew is stuck in this match. But also the thing is, whether or not Drew loses it, he will be over afterwards because it's Drew McIntyre. Damian needs to win the match to be like, get some relevancy, but if he loses it, it's like, well.
I just feel like he's just not a main event type guy. He has a good look, and he has a good work ethic, but as a main eventer, he's not box office.
I think he could be if he. I think it really. I mean, of course, like the WrestleMania cash-in later was, but what cash-in is not like.
Here's the thing, though. I don't see Damian as that type of box office draw, or even a solid main eventer compared to Gunther, who I think he has the look, he has the presence of an old school main event champion, who carries himself with main event style world champion material. Like Gunther will fit in perfect in the territories because he can travel around.
We're gonna also talk about that later, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, I will give it to that because also. I mean, we can also like talk about later when Damian actually cashes in. But yeah, it also like it looked also like that he didn't believe himself that he has the title.
Same with Kofi. You can say the same with The Miz. And this is why I over the last couple of years I've soured on the Money in the Bank concept.
Yeah.
But now they want to get anybody the Money in the Bank and hope that they can cash in and win. Because and it's not going to be successful all the time.
I think the Money in the Bank should be brought back when they have a story for it. For example, I think that last year with the quick cash-in was very well done to further their feud with Punk. It was not a wasted cash-in, it really delivered for the story. And I think that for Tiffany, it really worked because to put the title on her, because Tiffany was main event material the moment she came out of NXT. Yeah, because with Kofi, it's actually, when you think about it, when you look at Kofi, do you really think about, a world heavyweight champion? No. Like, Kofi is a fantastic guy, he's a fantastic worker. He has his legacy with the New Day as the longest reigning tag team champions, which is very believable, but nobody thinks about him as a world champion.
And
he's also not booked like one.
And I will say this, New Day may be the longest reigning tag team champions historically, but Demolition is still the best tag team. And they had the most competition. Let's just call it out. Tag team in today's modern era are not as good as it was in the 80s. So I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like I said, the match with Daniel Bryan was good, and it's a lot because of Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan will always make somebody look good because that's who he is as a wrestler.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I wasn't really big on Triple H Batista.
It's my favorite match of the WrestleMania.
I don't know. Like, I just felt like Batista coming back to have that match. I just didn't care.
You know what I like about it? It felt personal, it felt intense, and it was the perfect conclusion of the character. Triple H created him, and he destroyed him. So I think that there's like this poetic rhyming in it, which goes back to Evolution. So I think like that match really had like this gravitas to it. And when you look at it, it actually I think also was Triple H last WrestleMania match.
But I just look at it that for me, it just pales into comparison to their 05 match.
I still think at that point, it was like really more story driven. I loved the backstory with Ric Flair.
I'll give you that. It was definitely story driven. By this point, I just didn't care about, Batista wanting to come back and deal with the situation. Because I'm like, man, you in Hollywood right now, man. It's like,
yeah. I really enjoyed it, and I think also Batista enjoyed because he said like that he got this finishing that he wanted of this character. So yeah. But another positive point about WrestleMania 35, fucking Samoa Joe.
Yeah, him squashing Rey Mysterio.
That was epic.
Go ahead.
That was a squash match that I really can get behind.
like I said, my biggest issue with Samoa Joe is they should have had him beat Brock.
Yeah.
Even if he had a short title reign, they should have had him beat Brock.
Because when you say it's because it's like the thing. When you think Kofi, you don't think world champion. When you think Samoa Joe, you think world champion. Easily. And
Joe can cut great promos. He's believable. I like the AJ versus Orton because AJ won. I was happy that AJ got a win over a name.
Absolutely, that was a good one. What really sucked, of course, was like Baron Corbin beating Kurt Angle. Like, this did nobody a favor because the way the WWE booked Corbin, which when you see later how Baron Corbin actually really blossomed in NXT and became a fantastic character, they fired him. Like,
what? I don't even, like. I skipped the match. Well, what was the point of Shane McMahon and Miz going 15 minutes?
I don't know. But yeah, Shane versus Angle. Because of course it has history to it.
Hey, they got to have some glass plexiglass there so he could suplex him to it.
But yeah, I think it was a really good WrestleMania 35.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and of course, like also, do you think that we would get to a point where Vince McMahon puts the Voodoo Kin Mafia into the Hall of Fame? Which is funny because, like, at least one Vicky M is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. But it was a pretty good show. I wouldn't say it's like great per se, but it was pretty decent.
It was, especially for being so many hours long, which of course was fixed the next year with having 2 nights. But also WrestleMania 36 is the lockdown mania.
The pandemic. No fans.
No fans, and it really shows. It's just but of course you can't fault anybody.
And they tried.
And they really tried to make the best out of it, and also like for this context, I think like the Boneyard match. Like, let's look for night 1 first. The Boneyard match was really good. Also gave us like this immortal moment of the Undertaker emerging behind AJ Styles, which gave us one of the best meme templates in history. So I think that the Boneyard match was actually a good send-off for the Undertaker.
Yeah, it was. And you know what? I loved in that documentary about how AJ reached out to him. When Undertaker was, contemplating retirement, and how he was like, he just wanted to go out with one good match, and it was AJ the one that contacted him about it. That speaks a lot to AJ to say, you know what, man, I want to give Undertaker that match.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the pandemic hit, and we didn't get the traditional match. But the Boneyard cinematic match was the guts of the cinematic match.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna let you talk about the other one because I like that match was like just a trippy match.
Yeah. It's really, for the time with the pandemic, made the best out of it. I wish that Shayna Baszler would have gone over.
Yeah.
Like, the finish was so fucking stupid. Like, and it really shows that Becky is not somebody who can really lead a fight. And Shayna was never the same after this. You know, the monster she was in NXT. And then after this really stopped Shayna's push in the WWE, and it's really sad. Because when you look at her Bloodsport fights that she had like in the last 2 years, generally like everybody watch Bloodsport. Bloodsport is the best pro wrestling event, catch as catch can. Josh Barnett, the War Master himself, putting on like fantastic cards. Yesterday Bloodsport event in Las Vegas. Check it out. I wasn't so satisfied by like a wrestling event in a long time. Absolutely loved every second of it. But yeah, it's very underwhelming first night of WrestleMania, except for the Boneyard match.
I will say that I agree with you on saying the basis. She just went downhill after this loss.
Yeah.
And considering that she had that long run as in the camp, she deserved better.
Way better.
And I'll also say who deserved better also? Rhea Ripley. Because I was not a fan of Charlotte Flair beating her for the NXT Women's title after she beat Shayna Baszler.
I was a big fan of it.
Of course you're a big fan.
I love Rhea and I love Charlotte.
I just hated that they had Charlotte take that belt from her.
I
just felt like she didn't need it.
Charlotte Flair, of course, she needs gold and diamonds.
Of course, so she can catch her father. Yeah. Come on. At this point, I just knew that like they just giving her the NXT Women's title so she can add more stats to her catching up to her father.
Naturally, but also Rhea and Charlotte have such a fantastic in-ring chemistry, and this loss actually played a lot into the next Charlotte Rhea match, which
was better.
Which was not only better, but was the best match of the night, which we're going to talk about. So this feud also a future, like the future feud. So this actually worked very well.
They made up for it, but I remember at the time being upset at it because I'm like,
yeah, I get it. I totally get it at the time.
Because Rhea was really gaining traction in NXT,
which a lot of people are gonna be upset like tomorrow when Charlotte wins title from Tiffany.
Yeah, so,
But you know what? What was the worst to sit through?
What was that?
A PG last man standing match. It goes for 37 minutes and it has no storytelling at all between Edge and Orton. It was probably the most boring last man standing match that I've watched the whole history.
That match was about as boring as the Roman Triple H match. About as boring as the Triple H Shawn Michaels Hell in the Cell 40-minute weight fest. Matches don't need to go long.
Yeah.
If you're not telling a convincing story.
Exactly. And this was not storytelling. This was just moving from one spot to the other. This was like just a 37 tour through the performance center.
And Edge got hurt because of it. And it's like, come on, man. You come back at the Rumble, you have this long ass match with Orton, and you get hurt doing this long match.
And nobody was drawing color. Like, this match needed color.
PG era sucked.
Yeah. But yeah, for me the immortal moment, the Firefly Thanos match, I still don't get how John Cena agreed to this, because this summed up Cena so perfectly. To quote the Vince McMahon devil puppet, this is some good shit. There's so many Easter eggs hidden in there. Like, you know, from the Super Cena, big match Shawn and everything. I mean, Cena lost Supernatural, so
That don't count.
I like. It's like it's an experience. It's not a traditional wrestling match. It's just basically the Fiend going through Cena's career and showing Cena like the mirror. And this is what
The funny part was if Cena was in the NWO.
Yeah, that was. I loved every bit of it. This is so meta. But also have to say that this Firefly Thanos match only worked in the context of the Performance Center WrestleMania. This would have not worked in front of a crowd.
I just didn't care about it, to be honest. And I felt like it was too little too late. Because while The Fiend was something new, I was still kind of upset that they didn't give Bray that win over John Cena a couple of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was.
So I felt like this was like, whatever.
It was basically, like I said, it was actually a big fucking John Cena, and this is where I like it. Because it really showed who Cena is. Like,
and the sad part is, we all knew it, and I just didn't care. I was ready for Cena to just go away.
yeah.
And when he lost, I'm like, yeah, just go away, Cena.
Let's just hope he
don't do
really. Let's just hope this is really his last WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But yeah, what also was, like in a long-term storytelling way, interesting, of course, is how Drew McIntyre winning the title in the Performance Center like fueled his heel turn later.
Yeah.
So that was like, of course, something that they probably didn't have planned at that point, but what they really wisely used for him turning heel later.
Thank you. I thought Lucha Underground was fantastic.
Chelsea Green being able to work fantastic
Io
matches.
Sky,
Io Sky, yeah.
Kari Sane. Lucha Underground, those first 3 seasons of Lucha Underground was fantastic. I'll tell you this though. I was heated when Mil Muertes lost to Sexy Star. I thought it killed his fucking character. For me. Because I'm like, this dude's a monster. I don't care what they say. Like, yeah, Sexy Star was fine and she's good in the ring, but you should not be using to no damn. You should not be beating Mil Muertes.
I'm so used, like, also to Maki Ito when she was like the GCW like cutest Extreme Champion. I'm just, you know, when they do it believable, I'm just so used to the intergender matches from the indies that I don't question.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But like I said, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But anything else on WrestleMania 36?
Good that next year had an audience. It's like it's. I think it was. I think that WrestleMania 36 fast forwarded to have a night 1 and night 2, which ultimately would have happened anyway. But actually, I think it was a good decision. I don't think that SummerSlam should have 2 nights.
I agree.
I think this should be like a WrestleMania thing only.
Because now you making SummerSlam 2 nights is like, now you want to put a lot of emphasis on SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just keep that a 1 night event. WrestleMania is the only show that
Absolutely. But yeah, let's say WrestleMania 27 final audience. Great speech from Vince at the beginning, and I'm missing the Vince McMahon. Welcome to WrestleMania.
Yeah, it definitely was great to have a crowd again. And
Yeah, and a crowd with a very mixed reaction to Hogan.
Hogan's gonna get mixed reactions till the day he dies. Anytime he shows his face, he's not gonna get cheered lovingly.
But yeah, also like, well, I think it was a very good night one actually. I still
Bianca versus Sasha is one of my favorites.
It was my second favorite match of the night, and I mean, I know people want to see new stars and blah 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 blah. I absolutely don't get the hate that Bianca Belair gets, but she's not a female Cena. She belongs in the main event. Like, of course, some of the promos were like a quick pandering, but that's not her fault. That was the writing team. But she is so talented. She's a talented wrestler. She has such a core strength. Like, the moves she can pull off. She's athletic and everything. And the moment that on the main roster that she's will turn heel will completely change female wrestling. Like, Bianca Belair is that fucking good. She belongs in the main event. Yes. And everybody that hates on her does it for the wrong reason.
And to be honest, I was hoping that she would turn heel with Jade Cargill, and they went with Naomi, but I still think she's kind of involved.
I think we might get a heel turn on this WrestleMania. I think they're finally ready to do it, because at NXT as a heel she was cooking, and
yes,
and this would, let's just say that I think a lot of people are not ready for how good heel Bianca will be.
It's gonna be great. And I agree with you 100%. She's a very athletic, and she knows how to work a match.
Yeah.
And you know, every match I've watched with high profile matches, she never disappoints.
Yeah, but it was my second favorite match on the card, because my favorite match was Bobby Lashley against Drew McIntyre.
It's insane that this match kicked off the night one.
Yeah. If you don't go last, you gotta go first. So I get it from that standpoint. But this match, two big men that can wrestle and entertain. This match.
I just say they had some good matches in TNA. People forget that.
Yeah.
People forget that they had matches for the title in TNA.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to see it on the main scene of WrestleMania, it was great.
And to see like this talent in the ring. This match would have been over in every era of wrestling, in every promotion. This is, when you see this match, this is what wrestling is. And also great heel work by Lashley. I know, like, at this point, it was hard for Lashley to be heel because he's just so over. So, like, nobody wants to boo him.
It's hard for any heel to be a heel. To me, I think this is where Chelsea Green...
Especially when you're a good heel.
But this is where Chelsea Green shines, because she's more of a heel as a character.
Yes.
And she gets away with cheap tactics that, that's how heels are.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody either wants to be a badass heel or a heel that's cool and stuff, but they can never truly be heel. You know who was one of the great heels that, in terms of character work? Rick the Model Martel.
Yes.
He was perfect as a
because he was a face, like he was like a face in the territories.
Yeah, AWA.
And his heel work as the model was excellent. I would even go so far to say that he was like Shawn Michaels before Shawn Michaels was Shawn Michaels.
And some people say that his work as the model wasn't as good as his work as a babyface. But that was the whole point. When you turn heel, you can't wrestle like a babyface.
Exactly.
You have to change your whole offense to be more like a heel. Yeah, Rick Martin, arrogance, I love it.
Fragrance.
I love it. That's true heel work.
Absolutely. And also, I have to, big shout out to Seth Rollins. He's truly the last company man.
He is.
To put over Cesaro at WrestleMania.
Oh man.
I'm not a fan of Cesaro. He is strong. He's a good wrestler. I think that the swing is absolutely a bullshit move because it absolutely makes no sense in a wrestling context.
Cesaro was at his best when he was teaming with Chris Hero in the end.
Yeah.
As the Kings of Wrestling. As a solo guy.
And of course the European stuff also like back in the day because he's from Switzerland.
Yeah.
But, and this is like, I have to give it to Vince there. Like.
And he's definitely not doing good in AEW at all. People are really seeing what, Vince was right.
Cesaro is a fantastic enhancement talent. No less, no more.
That's it.
Yeah. And Seth Rollins should not have done the job.
He shouldn't, because he's the biggest star then.
Yeah.
And Cesaro won, and where did it leave him?
AEW. The place where dreams go to die for most people.
And he only won the Ring of Honor title, which is a dead promotion, just under AEW.
And the only thing that is keeping Ring of Honor alive is Athena. Like,
and I hate the fact you have to go to Ring of Honor to reestablish herself. They should have did this on AEW TV.
Yeah, they're using Ring of Honor wrong. It would have been a fantastic purchase. First of all, of course, to get the fucking video library, of all the old CM Punk stuff and shit.
I will say they're doing a great job showing all those stuff on their YouTube.
Yeah.
The long videos of all the matches.
But Ring of Honor should really be treated as a separate entity, as a development, and it crosses over too much.
Yeah, I hate that. Chris Jericho being Ring of Honor champ just made no sense.
Chris Jericho.
I know, but it just makes no sense when
he's the learning tree.
Every wrestler that falls into the Jericho void don't come out too well.
MJF is the only one.
Oh, and another thing. Once again, booking fails. Why the fuck is the Fiend losing to Randy Orton again?
Because at this point it's just fuck him.
Like,
you know the great Dave Chappelle? Fuck him. That is why.
So it's like, man, look, just I was over. Again, that's why I didn't care about the whole thing with Cena, because I knew the booking was going to fail.
Yeah, it is. However, Hall of Fame, because they have two Hall of Fame this year, because also they had the Hall of Fame from last year.
Yeah.
NWO into the Hall of Fame. I love Sean Waltman. But there are NWO mid-carders that deserve the NWO Hall of Fame ring more than he does.
And he in that DX too?
He's in football. Sean Waltman was so blink and you miss it in the NWO.
I'll say this though. He was the original version of the Wolfpack, him, Scott Hall and Nash.
I know, but it's
that was like a subgroup.
It's for me
they needed somebody to win the cruiserweight title for the NWO. Yeah. So that was him.
There are so many NWO members. You can put Horace Hogan. Or Sean Waltman.
Or the Disciple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bruiser's Beefcake is in, but let's put him in as the Disciple as well.
I mean, you would know that when Beefcake gets in the Hall of Fame ring, it's gonna end up in Hogan's ass anyway.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say about this Mania, it was the last Mania of Daniel Bryan Danielson. Him in the main event against Roman Reigns and Edge in a three-way match. I thought that was a pretty good match, with those guys. And it was a great way, for Daniel Bryan to have a final WrestleMania.
I still have to say, like, with night 2 then, for me, it was not a card that was for me. Except, of course, for Rhea against Asuka, which actually was my favorite, was my favorite match of the card. Perfect mix of styles, glorious, physical, fantastic match. And it's like you're getting like a little, starting to get like the prototype of Mommy. And of course the immortal moment. With the match we already talked, with Daniel Bryan and with Edge, smash him, stack him, pin him.
Yeah, I like that finish.
That was a fantastic finish. That was good. But otherwise, the Day 2 card not that strong.
Whenever it comes to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they had so many better matches in the Indies that anything they do in the WWE, it ranges from good to just average.
I'm not a Sami Zayn fan. I mean, he's a fantastic worker and everything. It's just, he's not over for me. The best match that they actually had, we're gonna also talk about it later, which is like with Jackass, it was a real fun match.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to WrestleMania 38.
Yes, sir. So night one.
Night 1, Pat McAfee is so fucking annoying. I can't stand Pat McAfee. I would call him Blap McAfee.
I will agree with you there. I used to like him, but now he just drives me insane.
I hear him and I think there's brain cells dying. Like,
I don't want to say nothing. Because we already talked about idiocracy, so
yeah.
I'm not going to go nowhere further than that. But night 1, a lot of people might talk more about the return of one guy that you dislike the most, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I don't dislike Stone Cold. I'm not interested in him. But it's like,
it's a dislike, man. If he came back with hair and a stunning Steve, you would have marked out.
Hollywood blonde.
And then he would have brought Brian Pillman Jr. out there and stuff.
He could be the manager, like giving fake hair.
But I'm going to give props to Kevin Owens for helping Austin do that match, because he really did carry that match.
Yeah. And Kevin Owens is somebody who is in-ring psychologist like no others.
Yeah. Going back to his Mr. Wrestling days on the Indies.
Yeah. Also, thankfully Charlotte got over. Fuck the haters. So happy that Ronda Rousey didn't win.
Oh yeah. And to be honest, that match didn't even need to go 18 minutes. That's shorter. Charlotte should have went over in like 10 minutes or less.
Yeah, but at least Charlotte got over. And also, thankfully, Bianca
beat Becky.
Yeah, beat Becky. Also, like, right decision. And we got babyface Dominic.
Oh yes, Dominic Mysterio. Back when he was bland as babyface before he became 30 times.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, in the prediction, he might sneak out of WrestleMania with a title.
I truly hope so. And I think a lot of people might actually pop. I would certainly pop, because Dominic is like his evolution is amazing. He was a heel and he turned heel as a heel. Like, I mean,
It's like he's the only one, or one of the few, that can be a heel, turn heel,
And you pick a heel.
get more hate.
Yeah, it's absolutely glorious. And also Drew McIntyre, like night one, literally claymores the fucking ropes. Like,
Oh yeah,
WrestleMania 38, I think really strong. Also, absolutely
Cody
love.
Rhodes, man.
Exactly, like absolutely love also the story before. I mean, just like Seth Rollins in Vince's office with the T-Rex and everything, pure gold. And also like his character work, you know, when he's in the ring, he's not knowing who he's facing, and it's like, come on, time is money. Like, just being Seth Rollins.
As soon as you hear that, for that
And
music.
then you hear wrestling has more than just one black. That's some different Cody Rhodes song. Wrestling has more than one royal family.
That was
that-
a really good match, man. That was
I have to also just say, I mean, best match on the card and an immortal moment. I still can't watch this match without having tears in my eyes. This because having followed Cody from the moment that he left WWE and went on his journey, and I still, you know, up to this day, I also by WWE laws. Because WWE says Cody is a two-time heavyweight champion because he has like the WWE champion and the Universal Championship. This is not defunct. Hell no, he has the NWA title, and the NWA title is a heavyweight champion. Also, you can count like the New Japan Pro International Heavyweight title as a heavyweight title, and with a lot. Okay, the Ring of Honor, I would still call this an indie title. But I would say the code is a 4.
But Ring of Honor title used to be procedure. Now
Yeah. And but yeah, it's, you know, at the original like All In when he came out with DDP and Arn Anderson to win like the NWA title from Nick Aldin, which Andre Savage, which was a fantastic match. Also like true color, like in a storytelling way. Like that match gave me like goosebumps.
And again, it goes back to when, like I said, with the whole Daniel Bryan John Cena thing. When Cena said that if WWE dies, he dies.
Yeah.
Moving on. Cody's like, wrestling's in his blood. This is his family. He's gonna go out and work to gain respect in the business. You know, he felt that WWE wasn't giving him no respect. So he's like, I'm gonna take my talents, work in the indies, work my way up, get to the point where I'm NWA champ, and because of that success of All In, it led to the creation of AEW.
Cody might be the most influential wrestler of the new era because he restructured the whole wrestling system.
Yeah.
And for that, he was smart enough to see, like, when it was time to leave AEW, he was smart enough to see that, like, you know, I would not be surprised if one day Cody is in the position that Triple H is now in WWE.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
He is his father.
He is in all that.
He's a businessman, has a wrestling mind, and he knows how to work the business.
Hey,
What's up, Donnie? So I wouldn't be surprised if he moves into creative.
Yeah.
Once he starts to slow down and retire.
But yeah, this. He's going back to WWE, end of the indie story, beginning of a new story. Fantastic storytelling, and also, once again, Seth Rollins is... Every company wants to have a man like Seth Rollins that is a main eventer and that lays down when it's best for business. Sometimes even Like I said, he shouldn't have chopped for Cesaro, but here, chapeau to Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah.
And also, one great thing about this year, of course, which one of my favorite Hall of Fames, because Steiner Brothers are in, where it's just a moment when they have speeches, and then suddenly it's with Rick and with Scott, and Scott Steiner's like, "Oh, giving me a life, Mike."
Hey, it was so good to see the Steiners again.
Yeah, and I absolutely recommend to watch the Chris Van Vliet interview with Scott Steiner. That
it was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Great. And the only thing that sucks about the Hall of Fame in 2022 is Vader was introduced too late. Sadly, after his death.
Yeah. Which is a problem with a lot of Hall of Fames when they induct somebody after they died. When he inducted Stan Hansen, they should have said, "You know what, Vader, you're next."
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he was already on borrowed time.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was not like they didn't know. Like he got the doctor said you only have 2 years at most, and sadly went sooner. That's sadly.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know what? One thing that happened at the Hall of Fame that we forgot, we didn't even mention. When the Hart Foundation got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that fucking fan went and attacked Bret Hart.
Oh yeah, Bret. That was
that was 2019, I think.
Yeah, that's.
That was crazy.
Somewhere, I still hope that one fan is still somewhere in there where people are just going.
I remember the rumor going around that maybe that fan was sent by Bill Goldberg.
Then he would have done a better spear.
But yeah, that shit was crazy, man.
Yeah.
Now, I know I can't be the only one to say Night 1 was better than Night 2.
Yeah. And then absolutely, because it's that fucktard, fuck him. Of course, Night 2 starts very emotional with Triple H and leaving his boots in the ring. Yeah. And officially, which was a wise choice because health-wise. I do have to say, like I said before, the Johnny Knoxville Sami Zayn match was a blast, and it shouldn't have been as good and funny as it was, but it was pure magic.
Yeah, I was the same vibe.
And I also have to say that I was happy about the Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match because they finally got the WrestleMania main event that actually was a good match.
Yeah, because the last you had Rollins faster than the first.
Yeah, and the second one was what it was.
So this one was they finally got it right, and Roman went over strong, and felt like this is the strong Roman Reigns we needed.
I still think that the SummerSlam matches, you can't top that one.
That was a whole lot of fun.
Where just Brock came out and destroyed the whole fucking ring.
That was a whole lot of fun.
We're gonna talk about that when we do a SummerSlam show later this year. But my immortal moment is Vince McMahon winning his final WrestleMania match.
And then just completely doing what he do best. Taking the worst Stone Cold Stunner ever. This was number one of all the stunners he took, and a lot of them were crappy. This was the worst.
Yeah,
he was old and decrepit when he took this stuff.
I do have to say, his facial acting work when the moment Stone Cold Steve came in, he was this, oh no, again, here we go again.
WrestleMania night 38, night 2 had more of an entertainment feel, whereas night 1 felt more like the wrestling.
Yeah, night 1 was so strong.
And the thing that irritated me with night 2, Like, why did AJ have to lose, man? Like, I get this was when Judgment Night was starting, but at the same time, I didn't want AJ to take another loss at WrestleMania. But yeah, night 1 was definitely the superior night when it came to wrestling. Night 2 was the more entertaining night.
Yeah. WrestleMania 39 might be, in my opinion, in there for best WrestleMania.
It was a pretty good event. I'll definitely say that. Even though I could care less about John Cena, even in a defeat.
I just wanted to say that Cena can't even give a proper up.
No.
Like, but also it's also like a heartfelt moment for me, you know, like Lita and Trish back at WrestleMania.
Yes.
That was
fun. That was a lot of fun.
And of course, my favorite match of night 1 is Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
And this is just pure perfection. You got peak money, you got mommy, you've got like this in-ring chemistry that they both had. It's perfect. The Riptide counter into the DDT, like from Charlotte, so excellent. Like, this should have been the main event. This match was, I think this is the best women's match ever, and this might even be in the top 5 WrestleMania matches. Period.
It was really, really good match.
And of course, my immortal moment, probably one of the best WrestleMania entrances of all time. Dominic Mysterio, like all the whole vignettes before. I love it, you know, when they arrested him and he's like, "Mommy, bail me out, I will make it in jail."
Hey, the whole thing with Dom in jail was just comedy gold.
It is, and I really hope that Dominic wins the Continental title.
Oh, I think he has to win it. Because I don't think they're going to put the belt on Penta. I know we're going to get the fix, but I just can't help but talk.
And of course, they're not going to put it on Pin Bella, because
no, it's got to go to Dom.
Yeah, but yeah, that's Rhea versus Charlotte match, pure gold. Yeah. I still think at that point, you know, I'm saying it now. I think that Dominic should have gone over, but I still think we're gonna get like. I think that Dominic should retire Ray. I really hope so that we're still gonna get to that.
They still need to pay off that whole Eddie Guerrero SummerSlam match. Because ever since Dom grew out the mullet and the mustache, he's been channeling Eddie Guerrero.
He looks way more like Eddie. Like it's But yeah, absolutely. Great night.
Yeah, I agree with you. Rhea Charlotte should have main evented. I liked the Owens Sami Zayn versus Usos, but I felt like Rhea and Charlotte.
Good, yeah.
Yeah,
like
I felt like Rhea and Charlotte deserved that. Because to me, it's great to redeem that the previous WrestleMania loss that Rhea suffered to Charlotte. So for her to get that main event victory over Charlotte would have been even much better.
Absolutely.
Now here's the thing. I felt like Omar should have beat Brock Lesnar.
Like, my notes, almost being fed to Brock benefited nobody. Nobody.
Omar should have gotten that victory. It would have benefited him more.
Yeah.
And after hearing this man talk to The Undertaker on his podcast, I'm like, man, Omar speak. Because the man clearly has a personality, man.
I think they're slowly want to build it. They're just using it now for house shows. So I think they're slowly building him again. I think that Omos, when you look at Omos, also of course, I think that also like his match with Lashley in the past, like WrestleMania was actually pretty good. Um, I still think there's something to like. He's no Giant Gonzalez. He's no Great Khali. There's still something in him that you can bring out and that can really benefit the business.
Yeah, because I feel like when in this day and age, people don't want to see characters like him or guys that big because they just want wrestlers that can wrestle like Will Ospreay and so when they see big guys like that, they slow and lumberman and they just like, oh, he's the worst wrestler on the card. I'm like, he exceeds expectations when you put him in the right spots.
Exactly, absolutely, and you need to bring it in a storytelling kind of way, and I still think that he has something to give.
And I thought it was a good move to send him over to Japan to learn, because you know Japan love their muscle. They love big guys that can just beat up people. You know, so that was great. But like you said, there's potential there. And I felt like they dropped the ball by not having him beat Rocket.
I still hope that they're not over him. I still hope they're basically building it up and using it again. So I think we might be even in for a surprise
now, our match of the night for me is that triple threat match.
Oh, that
match right there.
That match might be, with the ladder match, Razor vs. Shawn, my favorite Wrestlemania match of all time. This is a masterpiece in every regard.
Gunther, Drew, and Sheamus just went out there and just beat the hell out of each other.
And they're basically power bombing the one on the other, which looked so.
That's what you call strong wrestling.
Yes.
Power moves, holds, counters. This is wrestling.
And just like with the Lashley versus Drew McIntyre match, this is a match that you can put in every era of wrestling and it would be over.
And I can't stand this notion that modern fans, especially the AEW fans, talking about, these big guys can't wrestle and stuff. We prefer our Ricochets and our Will Ospreays and Kenny Omegas.
No, your guys can't sell. Like
they can't sell shit. They can't sell tickets. They can't sell moves, and they can't sell fucking programs. These guys know how to go out there and perform moves without making it look so overly choreographed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I love crazy spots, but I don't like nonsensical spots. And when you look at, especially with Sheamus, with Drew, and with Gunther, like when you watch the match, when you also watch like in the Intercontinental, when you watch all their matches, every move has a purpose. You show this to somebody who's not in, and they think, this is real wrestling. This makes it feel real. While, of course, with AW and with some of the indies, you get fantastic stunts, but nobody that's real.
At all. And there's a reason why Jim Cornette just likes to say this is phony, over choreographed bullshit.
Yeah.
And when you see it in damn near every match, you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's I love the indies. I love, for example, like Christian Blake is a heel, fantastic. The moves he does, like, amazing. A little bit more storytelling in there. So, but yeah, it's like this match might be generally one of the best wrestling matches in history. Like, and when especially when you take Gunther, I'm not just saying it because he's from the same country as I am, is you put it in a black and white filter, you can have him go like against Hackenschmidt, you can have him go against Lutez, like, and it would feel realistic.
I guess that Gunther could pretty much fit in the territory days.
Yes.
And the NWA would love a guy like him because they like, that's a world champion. He would stick out like a sore thumb if he was in an attitude of it, because God knows Vince Russo would ruin him.
In the Attitude Era, they might have given him like a Baron von Raschke. Like, give it.
But yeah, to me, like that was my match of the night.
Yeah.
For night 2.
My match of the basically along with the ladder match for WrestleMania 10, my favorite WrestleMania match of all times. But yeah, WrestleMania 2, like I was like, Asuka versus Bianca is also another banger. Like,
yeah.
And then of course you have like the origin of Finn Balor, where his character never recovered. Like,
yeah, him
from the last. He should have gone over Edge, in my opinion. Also, Ladder 1. Ladder 1, Demon Zero.
What was the point of bringing the demon out and then he loses?
Yeah, it's. Finn Balor should have gone.
Edge was on his way out anyway.
Because when you look at the Judgment Day, and especially from that point on, like the Judgment Day really ruled Raw storytelling-wise. The Judgment Day, how it developed like Dominic's character, how it furthered Rhea's character. Also what it did for Damian Priest, like because it helped him push, like I mean nobody cares about the name, like the Funko Pop guy.
Oh, Carlito?
No, not Carlito. Carlito came later. The other Irish guy with the Funko Pop.
oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I think
JD McDonough.
Yeah, he had a good interview with Chris Manley.
He's a fantastic wrestler, but I don't see him as a WWE. Also get well soon. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But I don't see him as WWE material. But like, except for like, but actually, like Finn Balor was actually the only one who went in the Judgment Day, and his character actually dropped. Like he came in actually as like a leader, so-called leader of the Judgment Day, and got turned into a chopper.
How you turn against Edge, who started the Judgment Day, and then not beat him, to fully take control of it? You the leader.
Yeah.
Like you said, he never recovered from this.
He never recovered from this one, and of course, like I mean, the ladder shot was gnarly, you know, when he got busted open like the hard way. But yeah, it's
And when I think of Hell in a Cell matches, this match will not come to mind.
Yeah, it suffered, of course, also from the injury, because he had like this huge gap in there where Edge had like, okay, what I have to do until like he gets stapled. But yeah, like I think it suffered a little. It suffered from it. Still entertaining match, but yeah, Finn should have gone over. Then of course, like another very unexpected and unwished for Immortal moment was, here comes the leapfrog. Like a very late wake-up call to shame. It's enough. It's enough.
When he made that leapfrog and went down in the heat, I was like, Shane, it's time to retire, man.
Yeah.
It's time to step away.
I think that Snoop Dogg like improvised very well to like save the whole thing.
This is where you need the Snoop Dogg chips, like you said earlier.
Yeah, like I said, Snoop Dogg.
But let's talk about Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, because a lot of people thought Cody was gonna just win the belt.
In retrospect, of course, fantastic how everything turned out.
Yeah.
At that moment, I thought it's like, okay, it's Cody's getting punished for leaving the WWE. Yeah, the Samoan nightmare that Cody had. But you know, like now in hindsight, that he like, and then in retrospect, that he won the title. Great match, shocking finale, and I still I still like WrestleManias actually when sometimes the ending is shocking, especially when you get redeemed later, like it was there. So yeah, generally WrestleMania 39 in
It
my
was a really
top
good show.
in my top 2 to top 3 WrestleManias of all time.
Yeah, it's a really good show. And like I said, the triple threat match was
Yeah.
better than
Funny enough, WrestleMania X Large, WrestleMania 40
basically the
hold
main
up.
event.
It's just the main event. It didn't hold. The rest didn't hold up so well. Especially night 1 was a fiasco. I really like it. It was very underwhelming, except for the main event. Especially,
I thought the main event went way too long. That the show itself was long, but then 45 minutes?
That's actually what I noted is the main event saved night 1, but also the rest of night 1 suffered because of the main event. I mean, of course, they wanted to start with a banger. It's nobody's fault that Becky was like sick as fuck, that she went in like with a very high fever into the match. So of course her match versus Rhea is like very underwhelming. But respect for Becky to pushing through.
I just wish if she was that sick, I pivot, make the match no more than about 10, 11 minutes.
Yes.
Save off a couple 5 minutes of the match.
Yeah, I agree with that. So it's sadly because it was a fresh pairing. It felt fresh.
Yeah.
There was a threat that Becky might win, but of course everyone said, "But nah, it's Mommy. They're not gonna take the title of Mommy." So, but sadly, it's like out of their control. Sadly, then it's
talk about the Gunther match.
The Gunther match suffered the most from the long main event. It was way too short to tell the story they wanted to tell because they wanted to sell a battle of attrition. But for this, the match was way too short. As it is, Sami Zayn his win was not believable.
I didn't think Sami Zayn should have been the one to dethrone Gunther.
No, it's like even Chad Gable would have been the better choice. Like he's getting always the short end of the stick. I really hope that
Chad Gable would have been the right choice. The man who defeated Sammy a couple months later would have been better. And Braun Breaker.
Yeah, and also at this point was Ilya already injured?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, because otherwise I think Dragunov of course he's totally went dark. Like he didn't update like since his injury his Instagram or anything. So I hope he's gonna be there for a comeback soon. There's so many other options of people who actually would have benefited. And Zayn didn't have the title for long. Yeah. Then the whole Rocky rip-off story was very forced. Not a fan of it. And also, like, when you look at the other stuff, like, from Night 1. Like Santos, Escobar, and Dominic should have gone over. And the crazy thing is, because, like, first of all, like, how can somebody that has such a great look and in-ring talent as Andrade has zero charisma? Like, zero charisma, Andrade. Like, nobody cares about Andrade. Not even Charlotte Flair cares about Andrade anymore.
I agree, man, because I just don't know why they don't want to give Dominic a victory over his father.
And the book.
They could have easily just had him, pin Ray or John. It didn't matter.
Yeah, and the booking. That, like, some Philadelphia Eagles guys came out to attack the faces using outside help to get over the heels. What? Who booked this bullshit?
You know somebody booked it.
Somebody booked it.
Looking out.
I can tell you, Cornette was not the one who booked this.
And then I don't like. I understand trying to get some involvement from celebrities or sports athletes, but at this point, it's unnecessary.
But basically, they made it a handicap match against the heels. This is not how wrestling works. Like,
No.
Like they
the
made the
heels supposed to have the advantage over
exactly. They make the heels look super pathetic. Like, and I also have to say that Santos Escobar is so underappreciated. Also one of his theme is just really killer, and he's booked so badly ever since he was out of NXT. In NXT, like fantastic! Like he made the cruiserweight division count something when it was still around. Because Santos Escobar has so much charisma if you let him.
And they dropped the ball.
Yeah, they dropped it. I still hope that he gets his day in the sun. But yeah, it's also like it. I think in general, like there was a lot of bad booking decisions. Also
I'll say the worst of the worst is the Usos.
Yeah, I also noted that this, along with Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler and Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez, this is in the top 3 of the worst WrestleMania matches in history. Like, I think Giant Gonzalez had a deeper moveset.
It exposed the Usos so badly. All they could do is super kick, splash,
spear splash, super kick, spear splash.
And the spear and super kick are the most overrated, overused moves ever. Everybody do those moves.
You know what? It would be a fun match to have the Usos going against the Young Bucks, and the super kick. The super kick is banned from the match.
and they wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, wouldn't know what to do.
And I'll be like, man, put the triple threat match against them 2 teams against the Steiners, and watch the Steiners wreck both teams.
No, it wouldn't.
But yeah, that match.
Yeah. And also, I think that I really like the matchup with Naomi, Bianca, and Jade, especially since the story also leads in this WrestleMania. But the way that Damage Control was booked as choppers in that match was horrible.
Yeah, that whole thing. Everybody knew they was winning that match.
Yeah, it was so unnecessary that. It was really very lackluster night too. Like the only happy thing where I was actually really happy was that R-Truth got his first WrestleMania win in the ladder match.
I'm yearning for the Ron Truth Killings.
NWA champion.
I'm yearning for him, man. I feel we've seen too much comedy R-Truth for the last 10 years or so. I want Ron the Truth Killings.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Just give us that one serious truth moment.
You know what? Since Ken Shamrock is actually in a very good shape and he wants a retirement match, Ron Killings should do the retirement match against Ken Shamrock.
I don't know if I want to see Shamrock in the ring, even though he does look in good shape. But
I think, the technique and everything you don't lose. So,
but yeah, I felt like when you said that the main event was the best and the worst thing to night one, that match just did not need to go 44 minutes.
No, I did not.
Like, at best, 20-25 minutes.
Yes.
And
It was...
Bro, that match was so long that I tuned out halfway. I was like, man.
Yeah, it's...
And when I rewatched it, I was like, this did not need to go this long.
Especially when rewatching it, you know, when you watch it live, it's like, of course, it's the thrill of what happens next. The best moment is still, of course, The Rock in his final boss telling the ref, like, it's like, fuck off, I'm your boss.
Yeah, like, I feel like the last portion of the match was entertaining, but it was a slog to get.
Yeah.
And you could tell that Rock was a bit flustered throughout that match whenever he was in the ring. Like, Box Club always posts the part where he does the ball punch and he just slip and fall.
I mean, it was way better. It was still better than the Cena match. At least he didn't injure himself.
No, he didn't. But you almost thought he was going to injure himself with how he was moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, the night one was kind of a disaster.
I think night two was definitely better. Kicked off with the fantastic Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins match, and also kicked off the best feud of the whole fucking year between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Which this is how you have like a feud that's not about not everything has to be about a title.
But I will say, Damian Priest cashing in afterwards, winning the belt from Drew, didn't really do him a favor. Didn't do him no favors.
Yeah, he didn't.
Now all the focus is on Drew. And when Punk got healthy, their feud kickstarted. And it was the best feud of the year.
They got the bracelet more over than the world title.
Yeah. And Damian Priest he had the rematch.
Oh, he had
with Drew, but then after that, he didn't really do much.
Also, the thing is that in these matches, in the first two championship matches on pay-per-view, the one match was when he had like his huge botch and fuck up when he got stuck in the rope. Where luckily he was not injured. That looked gnarly. And Drew reacted so well to save that match. Like, that was fantastic work by Drew McIntyre. And then, of course, we have the other match where
he forgot to kick out.
He forgot to kick out, and the referee exposed the business.
I love it.
It's you should count. If somebody's so stupid to not kick out, he lose the title. He can win it back on Raw the next day. But don't play the audience as stupid. This was the
referee looks bad.
Everybody looked bad. And I don't even care whose fault it was. What I care about is this took you out of the whole fucking show. And I don't mean RVD with this. This is like, we know it's wrestling, we know it's pro wrestling, but while we're watching in it, we're into it, and we want to have the immersion and the illusion that it's real.
Yeah, so like I said, a lot of things happened that didn't do Damian Priest no favor.
Yes, sadly, like.
And again, it reaffirms what I said earlier. Like, not everybody is built to be main eventers.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can go back in the day and say, guys knew their lane. They were mid-carders at best, and they stayed there. Yeah. And they was like, hey, as long as I'm making money and I'm getting work, I'm fine with that. That's where when we talked about Miz earlier.
Yeah.
He had that main event run. It didn't work out. But he still maintained his whole mid-card status to the point where he still got a job and he's still doing what he could do best.
Yeah.
So, not everybody is built to be at the top of the card.
Exactly. Yeah. I still think that with different booking and everything, I think that Damien had the potential for sure. But it's... his championship run did nobody a favor, sadly.
It did.
You know what did us all a favor? A match that nobody was looking forward to. But because everybody know that Karrion Kross had to do the job. However, Snoop Dogg on commentary saved that match. Him talking about Huggy Bear and
Yeah,
especially this match was so unnecessary on the WrestleMania card.
Again, it's like what we're gonna when we do our preview for 41. This match is that's like, alright, this didn't need to be. It's a TV match at best.
Yeah. Because like the Authors of Pain were released shortly after. Bobby Lashley didn't renew his contract,
and they broke up the Hurt business way too early.
Yeah, it really like this match benefited sadly nobody, and most of all not Karrion Kross, the one who's still with the company and should be over.
And he's not even wrestling at this year's WrestleMania.
He was a blood sport and he gilded a blood sport fantastically. And his social media work is fantastic. He's the modern Jesse Ventura, also voice-wise, of course, because he does it so well. But yeah, I do also have to say, you know, when you look past like the past WrestleManias, what I think a lot of people overlook actually, Bobby Lashley is a true legend.
Yeah.
Especially the almighty Bobby Lashley.
To be honest, I really enjoyed his TNA run.
Yeah, exactly.
When he went back there and he really established himself as world champ, I thought, man, this is underrated. People don't talk about it enough. His matches with Drew there was great.
Could Bobby Lashley in the future that might happen be the only WWE champion, ECW champion, TNA champion, and the AW champion?
Man, look, they should just have him beat Mossy and take the belt immediately, man. Because I'm sick of the Death Riders.
Everybody is.
Sick of the Death Riders. Man.
Yeah, but I think Lashley will. I think Lashley is something who is like in his active career. Of course, he's always, but I think he's still overlooked for what he actually accomplished.
Now, here's the thing I'm worried about with this year's WrestleMania, and I'm looking at what happened last year. LA Knight beats AJ Styles, and then right after that, Logan Paul retains the United States Championship. Now, Logan Paul is fighting AJ Styles this year.
Logan Paul will probably go over.
And it's like, that's another loss on AJ's.
The thing is with Logan Paul, yes, he's doing it better than anybody expected him to do it. However, I wouldn't say like he has like, I think he has like go away heat. And I'm not even talking about like all the stuff where people hate him. Like, fuck it, nobody cares. It's wrestling. We're cheering for rapists and murderers for decades. Like, it's like, who cares? Like, but he's not a wrestler, and I don't want to see so much screen time and rubs and pushes wasted on somebody who is not a wrestler.
And not only that, he's not there every fucking month, every week.
Yeah, he's like this conundrum, like almost like this paradox. He's too little there, but he's also too much. Like,
if you're not gonna commit, then I don't want to see you at all.
And even if he commits, it's just this is also something that kills the immersion a little bit. Where I don't want like to have like this reality and wrestling world like cross over to that point. But of course, I mean, he's like sponsoring and stuff, so yeah.
I hope not. Jesus Christ. I just don't want AJ taking a loss. AJ is getting close to retirement now. You know, he said that he don't want to be wrestling past 50. He's getting close to it.
I think they should give, like, he deserves one last.
Especially with the amount of injuries he had over the last few years. I'm like, I just want AJ to have a nice, you know, send off, you know, with good matches and at least one more title run.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to hope for the best because it's WWE.
Yeah, I think from night 2, I think that you should have gone over Bayley.
A lot of people will say that, you know, but Bayley won, and I thought it was a nice feel-good moment for Bayley.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they do this year with Io.
I think we're gonna talk about like in a moment. But first, of course, Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns to finish the story.
And you know what? What people was more upset about this match than anything?
That Stone Cold was not there, and the Undertaker was just a stand-in that made no sense.
I'm like, for once, I wish people would get the fuck over it. If Austin and the WWE couldn't come to terms, and he said, "I'm not going to show up," he ain't show up. And people still crying about it to this day. Now they hoping he show up and interfere in this week. This year's WrestleMania.
And because the other thing is the Undertaker actually work, you know, when you do some mental gymnastics that actually makes sense, you know, that he's like no longer there as a wrestler, but he's still like the spirit of the locker room, and The Rock, by interfering as an authority, as a boss figure, upset the locker room. So the locker room took him out.
Yeah, man.
The Rock, like The Rock, may be the final boss and be like on the board of directors, but he ain't on top. He ain't on top of he ain't on top of wrestlers' court.
I thought it was
audio.
What happened?
Audio was, at least the audio was down.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay. But I thought it was a nice way to finish the story. Like I said, The Rock really added to this WrestleMania.
Yes.
You know, the whole final boss, you know, the whole, you know, look at you now. Look at you now.
It was epic.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, even bought the Rock final boss figure because the final boss is awesome. It's everybody knew that this match would be a clusterfuck, but it was a glorious clusterfuck. It was
overbooking can be utilized well.
Yes.
But then this clusterfuck's like the last year of WCW, where it's just non-stop bullshit.
But here, you know, also the thing is like how they put all the history in it. You know, they brought back like the Shield, that Seth Rollins like sacrificed himself in this moment. I mean, it was like a moment, and I was not the only one. I saw like later on that a lot of people actually thought that when the Shield theme came, it's like, is Moxley here?
People literally thought John was gonna be there.
Yeah, it's like I was like, it's like, are they doing it? But yeah, this story saved this WrestleMania. Otherwise, it was actually a pretty shitty WrestleMania when you think about it.
Yeah, and like I said, this WrestleMania, in terms of WrestleMania 40, had a better build than this year's WrestleMania 40.
This year's doesn't really have a build.
And I feel like the long wait time between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania has kind of hurt it. It really hurt it.
And I have to say, this year, actually, some undercard matches I'm looking way more forward to than like some of the main events.
All right, so which ones you look more forward to?
Actually, first of all, I love the El Grande Americano story. That it was so hilarious. So I'm actually looking really forward to El Grande Americano, whoever is behind the mask. Who knows?
Whoever.
Against Rey
And
Mysterio.
I guess, people took offense to him being from the Gulf of America.
America. It was like, fantastic heel work. Like, this is what a heel should do. Like, this, it's fantastic.
Hey,
And
he was born in a body of water.
this is like, I absolutely love it, and I'm very happy that for whoever is under the mask finally gets a proper WrestleMania match. Which even they want to really fake us, because El Grande Americano like mimic the same tattoo that Chad Gable has, just to lead us on the wrong path. So fantastic, like how they're really going deaf in there, like.
I hope they keep it going a little bit longer.
I you know what I think is, I also sent you the picture online. I think that Vince is El Grande Americano.
I haven't been on Instagram because Instagram's been acting up with me. I open up Instagram and it said you've been logged off. You got suspicious activity. I'm what the fuck?
Okay, like I'm sending you memes. That's a suspicious activity.
But it's been doing this to me for the last few weeks. So I'm like, man, fuck Instagram.
Yeah. But yeah, like El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio is something I'm actually looking forward to. Then of course you have two matches that could be entertaining for all the right or all the wrong reasons. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Anything could happen in that match. Like,
This is where I feel like if they have a good, solid producer agent to work them through that match, it can work.
Because the heat is there. I think that match is actually one of the best built, because that actually goes back to the last WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Naomi does fantastic heel work.
And people have been waiting for her to be a heel.
Yeah. And then, of course, Tiffany versus Charlotte. This could be a technical masterpiece, or it could... Or like these people saying they might shoot at each other.
I elect for the shoot.
Whatever it is, I think these two matches can't be boring.
They can't, because they got the most heat involved.
Yeah. Then even though I think that also like LA Knight versus Jacob for 2, just because it's Jacob for 2, like he's a fucking monster.
I feel bad for LA Knight because he's losing.
A lot of
Unless
people,
Solo interferes.
Exactly. A lot of people think that Solo might fuck it up, and then you have how the mighty have fallen, Tribal Chief Solo.
Jacob's Fatu has surpassed Solo.
I mean, the moment he arrived, he has surpassed everybody who has
I've been watching him on MLW in the past, so I was like, yeah, this guy is already...
Last WrestleMania, they had like the Punjabi prison match at the clusterfuck for GCW, and he was actually booked to be there with Silla Fatu, Silla Fatu is also amazing. Everybody's better than you.
Just popping up out.
Yeah, everywhere is like, and just like the
bloodline is healthy for the future.
I mean, Jacob Fatu and his 100 kids, they can make like their own promotion. But Jacob Fatu is such a beast in ring. Like, this will probably be one of the last WrestleManias where he's not in the main event. Because he's way too good, and he has it all.
I feel like the War Raiders New Day match is just a waste.
It's a waste. That's a waste, and especially, and you know what's the biggest waste of all? That the other tag team match they're gonna have this night on SmackDown.
It's not on the pay-per-view.
It's not.
And that's the most. I'm mad that they denied Motor City Machine Guns of WrestleMania.
Exactly.
How the fuck you not give the Motor City Machine Guns, one of the most decorated tag teams in wrestling, TNA, Ring of Honor, and all the other promotions? How they not have the WrestleMania match?
Exactly. And also Chelsea Green, the most over woman, like under Rhea at this point, like. Yeah.
If anything, I could care less about the New Day, because their heel turn was good, But you need Big E for the long run, and they don't have him.
And that's the thing where basically I think that the heel turn started very well. Also, that the work they did like on social media, like they really did that. But this went into nothing.
And the War Raiders is like, I forgot they were tag champs.
It's the same. Like Aaron and Ivar, what they can do for the size in the ring is spectacular. It's really good.
It's just that the match just don't have.
But it's still the War Raiders. They're like a gimmick. They shouldn't be they should be on the fucking pre-show to entertain and not like be the tag team champions. You know who should be fucking tag team champions?
Who?
Forgot the name of the detective now, but the Creed brothers.
Oh, the Creed brothers.
The Creed brothers should be tag team champions.
But I just feel like tag teams in general it's not as strong.
In retrospective, when you look at it, it was a bad decision to split up the tag team belts at the last WrestleMania because they have done almost like nothing with them. The only thing they have done actually which benefited somebody was to put them on the Motor City Machine Guns for a while. So basically that they have the titles along with all the other tag team titles in the industry.
I'm just mad that even though like the build to the match was decent, and I don't really watch SmackDown that much, but if there's one match that I wouldn't mind seeing at WrestleMania, it's that match, just because it's the Motor City Machine Guns, and I like the Street Profits, but it's the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah,
they deserve WrestleMania.
And also think in terms of wrestling that the Street Profits and the Motor City Machine Guns. That could be a starting match for WrestleMania that really kicks off.
Yeah.
And of course we have the match that I am not looking forward to, which probably gonna kick off day one. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Like I said, I love Gunther. And there's still a little thing in me that hopes Triple H books Gunther to win, hopefully, because Jey Uso would drag the heavyweight title that has no lineage whatsoever at this point anyway, because only 3 people held it, because this is not a lineage with the real big gold, which was a stupid decision to begin with, because in Cody's championship there's still the heavyweight champion, the WWE champion, and the Universal champion. So it's still everything in that one belt. So to put like a belt that is so new on Jey Uso immediately would put the Intercontinental title over that World Heavyweight title, which is in my opinion is anyway the case, because also like I think also that Gunther was more prestigious with the Intercontinental title, with all the history, then I mean the World Championship belt just looks right on him, looks really good on him. It's just that belt. There needs to be, I think, at one point they need to just split up the belts and unify the heavyweight belts. It's a clusterfuck.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They're in the dilemma because they don't want to let down the fans. And remember when we talked earlier about Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
And how the fans voted to get him into that WrestleMania spot? Do they want to piss off the casual audience that love Jey Uso? That want to see him win?
Didn't that cool off a lot in the last episodes of Raw?
Well, they've been trying to do the serious thing with him.
Yeah.
You know, where he, Gunther beat up, Jimmy, and that promo that he cut on Gunther where he slapped the microphone out his hands and he cut a serious promo. If I was Gunther, to be honest, I would have said, you should have been serious the moment you won the Royal Rumble. Because now you facing a real champion, you don't need to be yeeting and all that stuff. You need to be serious.
Then it's now there's like 2 heavyweight belts. If you don't count the NXT one, of course. But the WWE champion that Cody has is still basically, it has the World Heavyweight Championship in there, the original one, because it was unified with the WWE Championship. However, this one is defunct. What is not defunct is the Universal title. So Cody is counted as a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion by WWE by winning the belt because it's still the Universal title and the WWE title. So technically, actually, there would be 3 heavyweight belts right now. Only one is now combined in 2. It's a huge mess.
Convoluted.
It's convoluted, and it's like this. This is basically the downside actually about Roman's reign, is that they combine everything in one, and then they realize that the other brand needs a world title belt.
I don't understand that, because just have the champion represent both brands.
I think the whole problem started when Paul Heyman stopped carrying like the Universal title. Talking about Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in what could have been a Paul Heyman on the pole match.
I was just about to say that. Put him up in the cage or something.
That's why we're friends and brothers.
And with Vince Russo, he will definitely do that shit.
Paul Heyman on the pole.
Yeah, it's crazy that these guys are fighting over the services of Paul Heyman, man. In 2025. It's crazy.
It's a match that reads very well on paper. Might be a match that is very interesting in watching. There should be something on the stake for WrestleMania main event.
And this is the problem. It's like this match feels important, but it don't feel important at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Like you making this the main event match, but yet it's not even a title match.
Maybe they're doing still something with it, where the winner somehow also like has something to say in the second night. Like, it's gonna be interesting. Which brings us to night 2, and this is a match where I'm very conflicted. A match that I'm looking very much forward to, but a match that I'm very conflicted. Io Sky versus Bianca versus Rhea Ripley.
Right,
Technically,
good.
I want all 3 of these women to win because they're all pure gold. Bianca is undefeated at WrestleMania. If they want to build up a new person to have a streak, which would be like a streak match against, Bianca would be a fantastic choice to do so. However, I don't think that Bianca will win this one, which actually really sucks, because like the undefeated WrestleMania, because it's like the thing because Bianca always says, of course, you can't spell WrestleMania without EST. So this works so well, and to have her that like this, where people want to break Bianca's winning streak would be so excellent, because it always can put her like in a place high at the card, even if she doesn't hold the title. Mm-hmm. So if I look forward for future WrestleManias, I would totally let Bianca win that match. I think they're gonna have Io win it because Io's gonna steal it, and they're building up for Bianca versus Rhea feud.
And I've been wanting Bianca versus Rhea for a couple of years now, because I think they only had matches in NXT.
Because it's still so fresh. This is still something, yeah.
And when Bianca won the Elimination Chamber, I was like, yes, it's a perfect opportunity. But then they had Io Sky with Ripley and said they're going to have a match the next night. And then they had Io win. I was like, fuck. Because the money match is Rhea versus Bianca.
Exactly.
That's the money match. But then the fans love Io.
I mean, who couldn't?
And
it's Io. It's Io Shirai.
I love her, but at the same time, I'm looking at the money match.
Yeah, it's Like I said,
and I'm kind of with you. I think Io is gonna win, and then they're gonna have Bianca and Rhea feud with each other.
yeah. But I really think it would be such a waste to give Bianca the WrestleMania loss because of her streak.
Yeah, but we'll see. It's gonna be unpredictable.
Very
who wins.
unpredictable, a match that I'm very much looking forward to because you will have three fantastic performers. Everybody has their own style in the match. This, I see, I don't see this match gonna be bad. Very much looking forward to it, and there's like really one that's very interesting and very hard to predict.
Now
Yeah,
the tag team woman match, I really don't have.
First of all, Liv was pure fire the last year.
Yeah,
Like the work that she did, amazing. Her and Dom, like with
I
her,
think-
like Dominic turning heel as a heel. it's
and turning
amazing.
Rhea babyface.
I think it was a mistake to not give Raquel the Intercontinental title in a match against Lyra that they had. First of all, Lyra Valkyrie, I'm not a fan.
She's been kind of underwhelming as
She's too slow. At NXT, where she was already very underwhelming. The whole Bird Lady thing doesn't really work. Bailey and her really mixed together. Also, that they stopped the actual ongoing feud of Bailey and Roxanne Perez. For this, I was like, makes no sense. I really wish actually that Raquel would have the Intercontinental title, and you can recreate the Shawn Michaels Diesel thing like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because Liv and Raquel are so Shawn Michaels and Diesel. I mean, she's even Big Mama Cool. She's like, it's not even like it's not even like it was like an accident. So I think that this with Liv and Raquel has so much potential in the future, and also Raquel is so underrated. Like the work she had at NXT, like with Rhea, those matches were like fucking hardcore. Of course, she is like suffering for that like skin decision that she had. So I hope that is gone and she can.
That was heartbreaking hearing her talk about it with Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah, and I think that Raquel is a way better heel than a babyface.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that this tag team with Liv,
they're gonna retain. I think they'll retain.
Yeah, I really hope they're gonna retain, and I think that this Liv and Raquel situation could be like a real star-making moment for Raquel in the future. Hopefully.
Jesus Christ, Dan, no. No.
Which brings us to AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
No. I want AJ to win. That's all I'm gonna say. I want AJ to win, but I just have a poor feeling that Logan's gonna win.
I give you 3 letters. J-O-B. He's gonna do the J-O-B.
And it seems like he's been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, well, he gets paid. He can be on Twitch at home.
I just feel like it's AJ, and he doesn't have a good WrestleMania record. So I just want him to win, but
yeah.
No.
Rewatch the old teenagers.
I know. Let me go put an Unbreakable 2005 main event.
Yeah. Next match where we both hope that Dominic walks out with the Intercontinental title by lying, cheating, and stealing.
Like I said, I already see the finish scenario. Penta hit his finish on Finn Balor. Braun Breaker hits the spear on him, and Dom comes on over to pin Finn to win.
Yes, that's exactly how I would book it. And also because, of course, Braun Breaker, the only way is up.
Yes.
Best spear in history.
Yeah, that one he did on Carlito was
that. You know what? You know how I found out about that spear? In my Instagram feed, I was seeing rest in peace post Carlito. It was like, what the fuck, Carlito died? And it's like
Posted my services will be paid. Yo, he's funny with that.
And like, how did Braun Breaker with that speed doing that spear so safely and then flicking around that?
And he was able to be back on his feet with the
Yeah, exactly. That was like gravity defying. Yeah, Braun, like really. I mean, he's like, you don't need a DNA test that he's a Steiner. Like, it's.
He's got the best of. He looks like his dad, talks like his uncle.
Uncle, it's like
he's just the best of both worlds.
It really
Just wait till Scott's son get involved.
Yeah, it's like Braun Breaker, they pushing it up and rightfully so. It's like the Intercontinental, like this is what the Intercontinental will just be like, a stepping stone, and it's time to give it to another. I don't think they put him back. Dominic Mysterio would be the right choice, and I truly hope so. And I would not be surprised if we would get cheers for Dominic if he wins the title.
Oh yeah. Because like I said, the man's been healed for the last 3 years, and he worked his way up to the point where now the fans are like, "Oh, Dom finally gets his moment to shine."
The next match, which is like we need to get these two people on the WrestleMania card match, as I call it.
Yeah, the Sin City Street Fight.
Better have color. Both men, especially when you watch the old Punisher Martinez stuff, and like also like the true stuff. Both could have a fantastic, like, no holds bar match with. This match if this will be just good or meh, will be decided if what does WWE allow them, how far they can go.
Yeah. And on top of that, if Drew can take a loss and still be over because he's such a great talker.
Exactly, it's true. Like
yeah, but Damian is like he needs to win more
to be relevant.
But what is the follow up after the win? That's my concern. Because if you give him the win, and then the rest of the year he really don't advance, then it's like you're failing him.
Well, we're gonna see. It's let's just say the only thing I can tell about this match is like Drew's gonna be, even if Drew loses this one, it's gonna be a world champion before Damian Priest.
And now the main event of the entire damn event.
I think we still get a match.
Man, they don't need that.
Randy Orton
against who? Rusev? The return of Rusev that the rumors are saying?
Against Matt Cardona.
We'll see.
Just imagine like a scenario like
just to get Chelsea Green on the screen. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Because it's criminal that she's not on the card.
It really is. But let's go to the main event there, which had one of the most up and down build-ups that actually was very nonsensical. It's like, where's The Rock? Who the fuck is Travis Scott? Like, what is happening?
Like it about Travis Scott, but the whole point of this heel turn was because of The Rock, and he never showed up.
Yeah, and the
more you listen to John Cena's stuff, it's like, come on, bro.
It's not gonna be a wrestling match. There's John Cena in there. I'm at this point. There was first of all, at the beginning, John Cena, I don't care. Fuck Cena. Cena is a heel. Oh, this could be something new. You got my attention. Nothing. Like, the only thing that I remember about this feud is Cena picking on a fat kid in Belgium.
That's it.
That's it.
His feud is with the fans more so than Cody.
Exactly. Well, it happens. We see who's gonna if somebody's
I
interfering.
me personally, it's too little, too late.
Yeah,
Now I said at the beginning, I was like, all right, they need to run with this, make him a
yeah.
super heel. Keep sitting on the fans, shit on Cody, take the belt, and just run roughshod with it. But now, after all this time,
I don't care.
yeah,
I don't care about this match.
I mean, I'm still interested. I'm still gonna watch it, but at the same time, they've lost a lot of heat over the last couple weeks.
Maybe they have something in their sleeves, but at this point, I would say start with that match and let Io Bianca and Rhea Ripley main event the whole thing.
They're not gonna do it.
I know, yeah, they would, but this is actually something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, they're more so than the rest of the card.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just lost more and more interest. And The Rock has to show up.
Well, we'll see.
You can't do this shit without The Rock. He's the one that initiated all this. And yeah, fuck Travis Scott. Cody needs to slap the shit out of him like he what happened at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, but we're gonna see what it is. Like, at the end of the day, like I say, it's WrestleMania. There's some watching it live will be entertaining anyway, and especially nowadays when we don't have to spend like 50 to 60 like dollars, euros, etc. And we hope that we get something in return. At least now it's like, yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. And either I'm gonna bitch about it later, or I'm gonna enjoy it.
Like I said, I'm not gonna stress out over this stuff no more. Even though we'll go on rants and stuff like that, but I think the days of stressing out over these decisions.
Exactly, it
is what it is.
We're too old for this shit. However, in 3 hours, my alarm goes off because it's Joey Janela's spring break, and we're gonna get the retirement match of Sabu against Joey Janela.
And Sabu should go over.
Well, we'll see. And it's gonna be, of course, a no rope barbed wire match.
Good Lord, Sabu's too old to be doing that now, man.
Exactly. This is why
that man still got medical bills from the 90s.
This is also why this is like also a match where it's like, wouldn't be surprised if I see a dead person today in the ring.
And I know the whole thing is it's gonna be like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's Las Vegas time. It's like whew. It's like I say, it's now 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna sleep a little. Then my alarm goes. I already slept a little before the stream, so I'm basically now on power naps throughout the weekend. So I can watch like all the collective independent stuff, like on Thriller, and then of course WrestleMania.
NXT.
And stand and deliver tomorrow.
Stand and deliver.
Yeah. So basically, it's already have my donuts downstairs already. So
I'm calling it right now. Overfilming is Batain.
Yeah.
And just to be honest, I don't know about. I think Stephanie Vaquer is retaining, but man, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Jada.
I would, Jada Park is fantastic. I do have to say, over Femi, I would not be surprised if he already gonna put him on the main roster. I hope they're gonna wait until they have a proper way to introduce him, but Oberfemi and Braun Breaker will main event the WrestleMania in the next 4 years.
Book that.
Or how to quote a wise man, no water, no bread, just meat.
That's it. Now, we did these 3 shows, so we are taking next week off.
Yes, I also wanted to tell you, next week I'm visiting my parents. That's
yeah,
we're gonna. And then
between these shows, I think like 9 hours of shows we did.
Yeah, we deserve a week off. It's gonna be. But I'm very happy we did this. I'm very happy we survived.
It was a lot of fun. Lots of fun. know, we got to get our wrestling rants out, and we got to talk about our favorite matches and stuff. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and now I have to go to bed to get ready for what I didn't expect to see in 2025, Sabu's final match.
And hopefully he sticks to that.
We also did,
Yeah, that's right. You did kind of.
Didn't we? Was it so? Did we do the Dune review in 2021 for us? We did very recently a Dune review.
Yeah, it was last year we did it.
Last year. But what is time? I'm also big to Frank Herbert is awesome. Yeah, what is time? But yeah, now I have to go to bed. And thanks for everybody who watched. And
yeah, shout out to everybody that was in the chat, man.
And welcome to Wrestlemania.
Enjoy your weekend, y'all. We'll see y'all next time.